Welcome to Fight Night Rising. My name is Khroen, and joining me, as always, my fantastic co-caster, Boopasaurus. Boop, how you doing this fine evening?
Oh man, don't make it so obvious I paid you to say nice things about me before the cast today. It's always going
No
good.
one would have known. No one would have known if you just didn't say that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
swear.
It's caught in 4K. But anyway, Grown, always happy to be here. And this is the first one with the second Radiant blessing. So I'm pretty excited about what we're going to see today.
That is true. We saw the second Radiant Armory, a bunch of, the quote-unquote for fun changes that happened towards the end of the set, but they're still, of course, competitive enough, and we have a set of 8 players who are going to be competing under those conditions on this patch 10 point or 11.20, excuse me. So let's go ahead and introduce our cast of players. We, of course, are going to have our returning champion of last week, Jukyu, and then Crispy Burger. I believe Frodan did get top 3, but he's not back, unfortunately. But we do have Admiral Zhao, Bonzolo, Sherbat, Icy, Lendario, and Dog Guy.
Dog Guy.
Yeah.
Me too. Dog Guy is probably my favorite name here, but there's going to be a couple really good opportunities for some 1v1s here. Jukyu and Crispy Burger last week were pretty consistent the entire time. So the biggest thing here is that can they repeat, right? Can a lot of these
Yep.
people who were successful last week come back, repeat that same performance? Because a lot of people have launched themselves off of Fight Night, right? You know, I literally had a question about Jose Paulo on the quiz show yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And we know Jose from Fight Night. For a lot of us do. So lots of opportunities for good games and good lobbies and potential, star-making situations here.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with Jose as of recently. It was like 11-week streak. It got up there, almost tying the record. Sure, you know him for a Nocturne as well, but not here. Maybe we'll see him again in the future. But for now, we just have that wonderful 8-player list competing for their share of the Rising prize pool, $100 of which goes to first place. Second place earns 50, and third and fourth earn $25 apiece. But as always, the top 3 will be invited back for next week's competition, so they can maybe get to the record, tie it, or maybe even surpass it. That is at 13 weeks, though, so kind of a tall order, Boop. Definitely
Yeah.
not many players are, that skilled to be able to do it. There
Well,
might be a couple.
it's almost the entire set, right? I think
Yeah,
outside of 4 weeks total, Jose was here throughout the
it's getting up
entirety
there.
of the set. I mean, it's a quarter of a year. I think there's 52 weeks in a year, so you can do the math instead of me because you're probably better at it. But no, like the other thing that I'm actually pretty excited about is the second Armory has, for lack of a better term, released the Kraken. On a lot of different types of comps, right? There's just a secondary comeback opportunity, and everyone I feel like feels like they're a part of the game a little bit longer. And I think that's kind of like the for fun aspect there. There's some strategic happenings in terms of the
Yeah.
second blessing as well. It's definitely not as for fun as some of the other changes have been. If you remember in Fates, it felt like there were 8 million armories at one point. So these changes I think are okay. You get one at 5-1 and 4-1 now. So what's really cool about it is you find one and then you get a whole round, 5 rounds to kind of decide which direction you need to go after that for your second pickup. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of choices, more choices to be made here at the end of the set.
Definitely, and I think we talked about it last week as well, like what compositions are these comps going to be better from? I think we heard a bit from Jukyu, and we did some theorizing as well, as maybe it'd be good, at least personally, I thought maybe for like a Vel'Koz A-Bomb comp, you get to, itemize all the A-Bomb units, another front line, plus your Vel'Koz, maybe even some supporting, things in the back line. You're going to want your Banshees Claws, maybe your Shrouds, your Zephyrs, things like that, of course, and having a second armory gives the opportunity to build everything. So let's go ahead and jump on into game number 1 of Fight Night Rising this week on perspective of Crispy Burger, who I believe got 3rd place last week. She had a couple of great games, I believe a first and a second, then the other games were a 7th and a 5th. Still overall not too bad.
3 top 4s should, I think, be kind of the goal for Crispy Burger coming into this week. A lot of people, especially newer players, will struggle to repeat a Fight Night performance, right? We'll get someone back for a second week and we won't see him again for a whole set. So you really want to establish yourself when you have the opportunity, and our returning players do have that opportunity right now. As Jukyu, the winner from last week, going to be getting started with 2 Olafs and a Udyr, who you might be seeing a lot more of, because not only are you getting more items regularly, the Draconic eggs are going to be coming a lot more frequently. Double opportunity for the large egg at Draconic 5, I
Yeah.
believe. And so a lot of Draconic play. I actually got to hit my first ever tier 3 5 cost unit the other day because Draconic gave me 4 Nikos for some reason. And I got to do it.
Was
and
it Heimer?
unfortunately, my team was good. So like once Heimer ult, everyone was already dead. Should have just sold everyone. That should just be the rule. If you get a tier 3 5 cost unit, sell everyone. You're still gonna win the round. That's like the whole point. Unless
I remember when
Viego 5.
I remember those units like actually did that. There was like some set 3 clips, the unit set just dunking and slamming on, literally killed the whole board instantly. It was kind of crazy. Heimerdinger still needs to cast, right? You know, still has a large mana pool. Not the largest though. We learned from the quiz show. Phelios.
True.
Takes the longest to ulti.
True. Heimerdinger was an incorrect answer there. Also, Kale wasn't in a winning comp at all during a World Championship.
I would have gotten that wrong. I really thought she would have been, but I mean, I think it was Emily who mentioned that with the winning composition, you know, it was Swan Me won with 8 Legionnaire, but there was no Kale on that board. It was
so crazy. Yeah. It kind of reinforces what we've been saying for like 7 weeks now, right? If you really want to get 6th, play Kale.
True.
That's the rule.
Don't play Kale, you'll win worlds. That's the lesson that we take away from it.
Because the mistake you make is moving your items from Varus onto Kale, right? That's the mistake that you're making a lot of the time. Yeah, 100%. But back to this game. This is a pretty good start so far. We've got the tier 2 Olaf. This is going to be fine. And going to be good to go in terms of competing for wins. So we can definitely win streak from this position.
Ooh, okay, nice. The Rod as well. Rageblade. Also learned that's the most commonly slammed item.
It makes sense.
For a good reason. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of, I think, one of the simpler items to understand, too. And I think it's a fun item. It has been since literally set 1. Attack speed's always fun. Think about all your fun, like, Lulu attack speed builds from back in the day, right? It's always been a thing that League players like. So why not do it in here as we get the Ziggs to start carrying some items. We got a glove and a tier. But that's probably going to become something else a little bit later. But this could go Hellion, this could go Spellweaver, it could still go Draconic if they're still going that way. We're still very early on.
Oh yeah, super early on. Could go Draconic, actually. There is the set on the bench, as well as A-Bomb, you know, potential at least. The Callista on the bench, the Brand for the Spellweaver on the board. And this is like a solid early game board. It's not going to win every single round, but it is going to take some, especially with the Ziggs now having the Jewel Gauntlet Slam. It's going to be such dominant victory against Benzolo, but Benzolo is going to be prioritizing Econ, is still level 3, has at least 10 gold to his name, as we see from the right-hand side there, that little flower petal. I like this map, by the way. That map was very nice. Board.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the next ones. I can tell my friends that the carousel is actually sick looking. I don't know if anyone got a chance to look at it, if there was any pictures on any of the materials beforehand, but the carousel is pretty cool. I like the design of it. So, because I really like the carousel for Fates.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting back to like more, the theme is going to be throughout the set, which is actually really cool too. I think it's the most like clear-cut theme they've had, and there's a reason why a lot of people are excited about set 6, to be completely honest with everyone watching.
You're just teasing us, Boop. Now I want to know more about set 6.
Well, we're still playing set 5.5, and so there are going to be some shared units, but as of right now, I'm actually really digging the viewing experience as a viewer when it comes to competitive TFT right now, because of that second item. It gives off the impression that things are going to be a little bit more competitive. Unfortunately, it can create a win more situation for your top team comps, but it does allow everyone to have at least one more chance to be a player at the end of the game, rather than just waiting for your HP to go away.
And if nothing else, something makes it more exciting too. You just have more, you know, powerful items doing some, honestly, just some really cool things that you can maybe even show a lot of skill expression, right? When it comes to things like if you do get the Zephyrs, or even like the Frozen Hearts, or the, you know, Shrouds, things like that. Having more opportunities for those allows for more skill expression. You see players playing around them more. There's just so much more information that you always have to keep in your mind. And that's TFT. Just so much information processing. It's
Mm-hmm.
on. Yeah, it's a ton.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're being super reductive, right? Being good at TFT is kind of just understanding which information is important amongst all of the other information,
Yep.
right? Like you have to prioritize certain things, and if you get so bogged down into, oh, I don't have a comp yet, but you haven't scouted, what you have on your board might actually be the right direction, but you don't know because you didn't take the time to look elsewhere. And the game is telling you who is looking at your board too. So one of the funniest things is when someone hits 40 gold, every little legend will go to that board and wait to see what's going on.
Oh yeah, 40 HP, that Radiant Blessing, yep. You can definitely see, at least most players should. Some players do forget, you know, they're talking about there's so many things you gotta do in a TFT game. You get some players in solo keep being like, hey guys, what was the stimmy? I didn't see. But hopefully everyone is going to be keeping track of that. And even Admiral Zhao might continue this win streak. This Irelia has the Warmugs, was thrown the Chain Vest as well to make her a bit more tanky, and that's going to be a reason why Admiral Zhao is going to continue this win streak, and hopefully can for one more round. 5 streak into Wolves. Jukyu is still 100 HP as well. Might be an exciting potential matchup there, Jukyu versus Admiral.
And you can predict who you're going to be facing off against. So there is a possibility that Admiral Zhao and Jukyu will be going up against each other, as they haven't just yet. And we did get some scouting, and that was Jukyu checking in on that 100 HP brethren that they have at the top of the leaderboard. Let's see what this matchup is, because the bottom of the leaderboard is starting to get a tad of power, but they're still pretty easy to beat, as this is going to be a Draconic board from Joey, or Icy.
Yeah.
Joey.
Joey. I can see where he thought that was a J, definitely, from our point of view here. But it is going to be a Draconic board, which means it's probably not going to be that strong right now. The Zig still is, but it's going to be 1v4 at this point. Maybe you can get 1, maybe 2 more. No, it does not get that next bomb off. It looks like Admiral Zhao and Jukyu both maintain their 100 HP streaks into Krugs. But as we were alluding to earlier, players are going to know their next few matchups. So there's still potential at 3-1 for them to run into each other. Basically a 33% chance kind of every single time. As you know, there's one of 3 people you can run into.
As we're going over to Dog Guy, not to be confused with Cat Guy.
I don't see any dogs in the background there.
I know. I mean, is this a misnomer or is this false advertising?
I mean, if they win, we got to ask in the interview.
I know. Where's the dog? You can't be Dog Guy without the dog. Right? Maybe this is the guy who let them out. I'm so sorry. That's like a 2003 joke. I apologize for everyone who had experienced that. Anyway, going back to round 2-7. Yeah. No one has ever heard a joke like that before. 27 gold for Dog Guy, though. Already that brand, too. So we're feeling good in terms of best on board. We got the 2 Knights. We got the Legionnaires. Rageblade on Callista is one of the best early game slams just in general. It has the Titans as well, so that might be looking at a Draven or something a little bit later, but Titans on offensive units is something that I love. It's just flat damage reduction and damage increase, right? So, you know, it's just free damage. And again, you're probably going to be doing damage for longer, and by the end of the round, do more damage than, say, if that was another damage item.
Ooh, okay, we have a blue buff slam from Dog Guy as well. So, I mean, we have items that can lean into both kind of trees, either AD or AP, and it could be Draven, right? Because at the end of the things, we find a Viego blue buff is going to be fantastic. It's going to be a long time until we commit to anything like that, but oh man, the Callista almost is able to win the round. Not quite, though. Crispy Burger. Varus, too, pretty good. Just don't switch it over for a Kale anytime soon. Keep it a Varus, please.
You know, if it happens, I'm willing to bet real money that they get second place. Like, there's this like weird thing. I don't know why, but anytime I play Kale, I get 6th. And it's not the only time I've ever heard that from someone. Which is the funny thing. So we'll definitely see if that's the case, because that's always an option, right? Whenever you get the Rageblade, whenever you get the Bloodthirster or Hodge, right? You're going to think about the Kale. But again, to put it into perspective, I had 3 Nikos on another Draconic game, put 2 of them onto Kale, and then lost 4 rounds in a row with a Kale 2 at round 4-3.
Yikes. Kale 2 even?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I did have 3 Rageblades for the memes. But
okay, we start to see, you know, why this may have happened.
But, you know, that early, I didn't think it would be that bad. right? I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with 3 Rage Blades, but no, I
No
immediately
fun.
lost every round from that on and then got 7th or 6th.
Not
And
allowed to have fun with
so,
Kale. Gotta
I know.
try hard or lose.
Seriously, it's the try-hard champ of the set as Sejuani 2 gets locked in, and this is looking like a reroll comp so far.
It is potentially a misfortune. We do have a couple MFs here. These are the units that you want. 3 Cav. It could be like 2 Cav, 3 Cav, and 4 Forgotten. Has a Vayne. No Thresh, however, yet. And it's kind of, Bonzolo is questioning what units they actually want to play on the board right now. It probably is just going to be some copies of these Forgotten units. Because you can still make Econ. There is a 7 loss streak. They've lost every single round in the game. Perhaps we'll make it 8 here. And is going to be nearing that Radiant Blessing. Or that Stimmy range. Might actually threaten to win this round, though, and snap the streak. Depends on how much these Heckrams can heal, and if it's most fortunate, it's going to be lethal, and it will be. Alright, snaps the streak.
Yeah, some acid rain from the top, making it rain with that misfortune. I don't know, though. Part of me thinks the best round to get your Stimmy is this next one. So, because every time Jose did, he ended up winning. So, or the same round that you get your first Radiant Blessing is there is a spat, 3 spats.
3
as
spats,
they take a look at everything else. And not only are they on some 4-cost units, so that's either going to be 4 gold or a nice adjustment to a Philios or something, it's going to potentially increase the options for some of our players. As we move over to Sherbat, and we're right in the middle here at 68 HP, tied for 4th.
Sherbat playing some Draconics. Actually, grab another spatula. They already had one, so this could be just a Force of Nature slam. I would love that for tempo, and there it is. We get some Draconic hatchings of eggs as well. Makes an Ash too. Plays 4 Draconic. Where's the Galio? Are we gonna go 5 Draconic? You know, talked about there is double the chance now to get a 5-turn egg from Have Draconic, up from 1 to 2%. It'd be big.
And that, those eggs can have Force of Natures in them. And when, you already have one on the bench and you have a 2% chance, and 2% might not feel like a lot, but it is double the amount that it was previously. And so you're gonna feel that, even though it's a 2% chance. People are just gonna land on it more often. And so far, it seems like people are splitting who carries on this Draconic comp. We saw some people running it with the Ash a couple weeks ago. Some people like running it with the Zyra with the Rage Blades, for example. That was who I took my items off of to get into Kale. 3 Rage Blades on Zyra is better than 3 Rage Blades on Kale, by the way.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, so there's that to think about. But yeah, this one has the items on the Zyra. So we do have the AP, so that's probably going to be going into anytime you see items like this, you got to think of the Cosmic Karma.
Wow, rolling on level 6. Oh man, this is all right. I mean, we can say maybe it doesn't get punished. Lands an Ivern, that's a good roll. But sacrificing Econ right now and still rolling is a huge kind of like question mark to me, because we're only 1 round before Wolves. Could just level to 7 at 4-1 and roll it down then. Now Sherbat's gonna be hard pressed to go 7 on 4-1. Might have to wait until 4-2, but even then there's really not gonna be that much gold to roll down with.
We got some good units, and that was a really good Zyra ultimate, so that might end up saving Sherbat at the end. But it's not about whether I think we were going to win this round. It's more about what's going to happen in round 4-3, 4-4 when other people are going to be rolling down, right? Where we're going to be econing. So we're going to be playing a little bit of a different tempo than the rest of the lobby, which is either going to force you down or put you right on top of that totem pole. So it's probably going to be, an edge case for Sherbat at the end of the day. But if Bonzolo doesn't recover from this point, as it looks like the Stimmy had at least a tome in it. We got
maybe some gold.
Yeah, we got some items on the Vel'Koz too. This is a comp that can win. Vel'Koz 2 would definitely feel a lot better. But we're at level 7 with over 50 gold, so we're like okay. We have a little bit low health, but nothing that's not recoverable from this point on. We've seen much worse.
We have seen worse. There is unfortunately no other sword, so the no Shojins for now. There is a Fiddle 2, however. There is the A-Bomb 3. This board does, however, need a couple more Vel'Kozes again to stabilize, and that's just not what's going to be there at that point. Now, with Lundario, is going for a 6 Sentinel board. There is the Lucian, just needs to put it in. Here we go.
Lundario the Lothario. Are
What?
words that rhyme.
Yeah, true. They are.
Yeah. All right.
Wow,
so
slam on Diana. Okay.
I love it. I love
damage.
Diana as just like a individual unit, right? Sometimes if like you high roll a singular Diana, it doesn't fit in your comp, it's fine. Just throw her in. That's some of the best DC you're gonna have in the entire game, right? So at this point, right, it probably delayed long enough for a Lucian ult, for example, and potentially helped us win out because that was at least a 4-person ult against Crispy Burger, who has some knights on the bench.
All right, now we get the, okay, gonna be grabbing a belt there. I mean, probably not a ZZ Rot slam, but we'll see. And yeah, Crispy Burger confirms that the Stimmy is indeed a tome plus a little bit of gold. Still rolling down as well. I can see a couple Lucian players. I mean, and this is the Lucian, I believe, that was on the carousel because it had a spat on it. Crispy Burger kind of took it and ran with it. Is not even playing 3 Sentinels, though, and is going to be selling it to pivot into a Jax, maybe Fortnite Jax, and yeah, here we go.
Fortnite Jax, I think the better version of a Fortnite situation here on the Convergence.
Oh, never mind, some more pivots. Now 4H and Air Draven. We just went through like 3 different comps in like 20 seconds.
You know,
and I do like that actually, because it demonstrates that Crispy Burger is very actively thinking like, you know, what is going to be my best transition here? Is it the Jax? Like assessing the board strength and be like, no, I don't think so comparatively to what other players are running. I have the Draven right now and 4 Legionnaires with upgraded Legionnaires even. And so being able to, you know, make it work that way still is holding the tome actually, because they want to land on a board that they know they're going to, you know, stick with, so that the options they get from the tome are going to be something that they actually want to pick. Like it might be Legionnaire now, it might be Ironclad, might be some really, really good choices.
And that's like one of the coolest parts about playing this game, right? Is sometimes what you're playing right now is not going to benefit you in 5 rounds. Like you said, we just saw 3 different comps in 20 seconds, right? So why are you going to use the tome when there's still so much context to be filled, right? You need more information in order to effectively use this. So you could use it now, but what you're doing instead of controlling the RNG is you're letting the RNG control you, right? You're just going to go with whatever it offers you versus trying to limit the amount of options as possible. And so now we've got some good choices here with Ironclad and Revenant, always good choices. It's easy to fit those in. And here you already have the Rel, so pick up the Ironclad.
Yeah, and it looks like that Titans and Rageblade from Dog Guy did turn into a Draven, but not great position there. The bit of a too good front line for Crispy Burger means that she's going to win this round against Dog Guy. Also having a Zephyr on the bench there. Dog Guy does drop into Semi-Range, and Bonzolo actually goes out already at 4-3. Oh my, that is some of the early simulations that we have ever seen.
Oh man, that is unfortunato. If you were to ask me,
least.
You know what? Just get me on here. I'll beat the record.
4-2. Any 4-2 eliminations?
Any 4-2ers in the chat? Any 4-2 eliminations in the chat? And we did get confirmation that the Stimmy is 5 gold and a tome, so everyone can expect at least a spatula. And again, if you're already like kind of rocking your comp, right, you're gonna be able to use the tome a little bit earlier and then get the value out of it a little bit sooner, as Admiral Zhao is going to be who we're going up next. Was at the bottom of the leaderboard at the beginning of the game. Oh, actually top of the leaderboard at the beginning of the game at 100 HP, but has seemed to alternate some wins and losses so far as we're moving into a Sentinel comp. 2 Viegos in this pack.
Yeah, there's a lot of players going Lucian comps, it seems like. One has already pivoted out, though, but Lucian is one of the most consistent, I'm going to get top 4, maybe even if I can get Lucian 3. A game-winning composition, but all of a sudden, Sherbet on the other side of the board has a Zyra 3 already.
And that is who we itemized. And this Zyra, this is going to make it hard for you to break up with her if you're going to come out of Draconic soon, right? Yeah. Because those items do work well on every Invoker, and you're not going to put it on Ivern unless you're me. And then, you can put it on Karma, and you could also put it on Teemo, for example, or Vel'Koz, but we'll see where that goes, because we did roll for potential 5 Draconic really early on, before round 4-1, and got to 30 gold, I believe.
Yeah.
And so sure bet, maybe not punished.
Not punished.
Maybe knows something that we don't, as Crispy Burger picks up a Galio too,
I
which
mean,
is one of the best tanks
yeah.
in the game.
I mean, Draconic Eggs plus having the Force of Nature means that, you're allowed to roll a bit aggressively. You don't have to push levels as hard. So it's not like as tragic. Still a bit lucky, I think a bit high roll to get Zyra 3 this early. Did roll down all the gold. Admiral Zhao, as you mentioned, started the game off 100 HP. Has taken some losses though. Has lost, 2 rounds back to back. Is this Lucian enough? I don't think so. Crispy Burger's Galio is just so tanky. Even with the Giant Slayer, Lucian's going to struggle to tear through this board. I don't think he's going to be able to.
Well, when the Warmogs is recovering health during the ult from Galio, right? You're getting damage mitigation, so you're actually going to be able to recover a certain amount of health, which seemed like it was just enough to survive the entire fight against things like the Lucian. As Jukyu going to move out of the Lucian and move into forever the bridesmaid comp, which is Aphelios at Fight Night, which consistently gets second and third place, but has not won a lobby in a while, but still might not be this. Aphelios is hanging on to the board, but it looks like we are pivoting. We do have the Fiddlesticks 2 as well as the Rakan 2, but those two things don't necessarily go together.
Yeah, the blue buff has gone onto a Viego, and that's still maybe okay to maintain on this board. 5-1 Radiant Armory comes through. Already have 3 damage items for the Aphelios, but a Zeke's Harmony could be still buffing him up. The frontline items, there's actually only a Sunfire Cape. A Warmog could be really good source of frontline.
I think it's the Zeeks. I'd probably pick up the Zeeks here.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
I do really like Zeeks in this situation.
Yeah, just do damage faster, right? So the tankiness doesn't matter, because you do have the Deathblade there. So we'll probably have Zeeks on someone next to the Aphelios, whoever ends up being the carry in the back line. Because you've got the Hodge, you've got the Rageblade, you got a Deathblade. Those can go well on the Aphelios. So we'll see if that's going to end up being the case. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Jukyu.
Oh, that's a Fist of Fairness. I didn't see the gold around it.
Ooh, I don't know if that Zeke's actually got in time. Did make a Banshee's Claw, also not in time as well. And Jukyu definitely looked a little dizzy, I would say, in that transitioning round. Is still rolling right now to try to make up some of that deficit. I mean, is top of the lobby in HP, but there's no Nightbringer on this board. The decision to grab the Radiant item took a long time, and that is time that you could have been improving the board, could have been, rolling, it could have been doing so much more. Jukyu definitely taking a bit of punish for that. But now we have Aphelios too, so stabilization is starting to happen.
Okay, 61 HP. The lobby is going to start getting tighter just naturally, but there is a bit about separation from the bottom to the top. So Crispy Burger and Dog Guy really got to try to finish off those compositions, because something that happens at round 5-1 is one of two things, right? It's you hit or you don't. Right, you get your tier 2-4 cost, you get your tier 2-5 cost, and sometimes you might be leading the whole way, and this is where the rolls stop happening for you, and you never reach the crest of the mountain. As the comp that we're looking over at Crispy Burger has the Kale, and we're currently sitting in 6th place. Just saying.
Uh-oh, let's see. I mean, the Viego doesn't get the steal onto the Draven. Aphelios ulti is not going to finish the job either. Cav spat on this Galio way too tanky. Crispy Burger's comp is good enough, because Jukyu is still not quite there. Dog Guy gonna fall and be eliminated in 7th place.
This scale might legitimately end up in 6th.
It might.
Depending on the matchup. Like, Aphelios can be a little friendly towards the Kale. Karma can do kind of well against it. Jax, if they get there in time, can do well against it. Viego is another example. But it's just, Kale is so vulnerable and does no damage, early enough to where, how are you going to squeeze out more time for that Kale when everyone is starting to get stronger, right? Yeah. Kale does the best when you're able to get it really early and you have best in slot items, and that's kind of the direction the game has given you. But trying to force into Kale, or trying to say, traditionally this is where you would pivot to Kale, right? We even saw our person who we're right along with hover over Kale, pick it up, and then sell it, right? It's just natural. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, Diana getting a couple casts off, but the Banshee's Claw was enough to stop the first one. Meaning that Jukyu is going to win this round. And has, I would say, stabilized on a decent board. Maybe lost a bit more HP than they would have liked to. Scouting out, we see a couple of Draven comps. A couple of Lucians as well. Not much AP, though, I don't believe. And I think that was the same as last week, right? There was like no AP, and then all of a sudden players are like, "Oh, guess this is open. Let's just run AP," and then yeah, in the lead from that, maybe a couple weeks ago. Finally picking up an actual frontline item as well. We didn't have any items on the front line last round.
And we get an okay one for the front line. This one's a little interesting. Tank items, you might say, normally might go on our Revenants in the front line, but they're especially bad with the ZZ Rot, for example, because you want Fiddlesticks, for example, to be alive longer, right?
Yeah.
So what the ZZ Rot's going to do is potentially cut that time out, as we got XI and Crispy Burger in 5th and 6th place. Things are starting to tighten up. Surebat not punished a little bit ago, and Admiral Zhao and Jukyu separating themselves a little bit, but these bottom players do seem to be getting stronger, as these comps just overall getting stronger, as we're starting to see our 5-cost units get upgraded. Nice Diana ult there, but overall I should be on the Zyra and where that's going to go, especially when there's less opportunity, and that Ashe arrow making things pretty complicated. This Zyra might not be alive for much longer, and there it is. Surebat actually loses out 10 gold, as well as XI gonna be in 6th place. Crispy Burger proving me wrong. Let's see if we can sneak into the top 4 with that Kale.
Yep, XI in 6th. Kale will not be getting 6th. Surebat does get the blessing. Ooh, okay. Invoker could be pretty useful. Means that you don't have to run the Karma. It is giving, of course, Dawnbringer over to the Garen, but not completely necessary. Ooh, Heimer 2 and Fiddle 2, big upgrades for Surebat. Almost, solidifying, I would say, this top 4 placement, and gonna be pivoting all the items over to Heimer as well. So that's when we get out of the Zyra 3.
Okay. Zyra 3 is going to turn into the Heimerdinger 2, which I do like, but that's going to decrease drastically the amount of CC on this board, but we are going to be getting an A-Bomb 4, which should give this Heimerdinger time to ult, and that's exactly what we see. We do have a Kale on the other side. Couple Kales, but the Heimerdinger should take this, as it does, beats the Ghost, as Admiral Zhao going to lose out. Uh-oh. There's no Kale, but there is a Galio Cavalier, which is very, very scary.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen that Cav. Like, that's such a fantastic Galio build. The Cav versus Flat Damage Reduction, the Warmogs as well, as you're talking about earlier, but it's not going to be enough, actually, into the Ashe. Wow, Crispy Burger loses the round. Moving over to Icy, one of our Draven players. 4 Legionnaire, 4 Knights.
Kale used as a splash to get to 4 Legionnaire. We don't have any redeemed, so again, that Kale is just there to get to that 4th Legionnaire to empower Draven, who does like being in the front line a little bit more than other like units. It's hard to see an Aphelios up there. Can work in certain situations, definitely against assassins, but you'll see Draven in this spot most of the time.
Yeah. Even having a Forgotten Emblem, not going to be getting us up to the 4 Forgotten synergy. Maybe takes it out for some Dawnbringers, actually. Takes the Yasuo out, but no, it's not going to. It is a Yasuo 2. It's still going to be outputting a decent amount of damage with the Jeweled Gauntlet. Wants to make sure to position Draven on the right side. That's going to be big if it's on the right side or the wrong side. And it is, oh, okay, well, it's opposite of the other Draven, but getting through this Galio is not going to be an easy task.
No, not at all. So far, the Gallios have actually been really good. If it wasn't for overtime on that round against Ashe, I think the Galio takes that easy, but it's going to be all up to this Draven, and that's why Diana is good. No items, but helps with the round win, as Crispy Burger going to hang on in 5th place. 10 HP now for Joey. I see Admiral Zhao at 15, Surebat at 31, and Jukyu at 34. So the top 3 seem to be pretty locked in at the moment, but anything can happen, especially since the top 2 did just lose.
Yeah, I see now going to 9. Maybe putting some Ironclads in. Could look for a 4th Forgotten, perhaps with a Viego. Giving Draven all those stats. is very, very nice. But we're definitely gonna start seeing some more eliminations happen soon. It is 6-2, and we still have 5 players alive. Sometimes we're even ending lobbies on 6-2 or 6-3, but not this
Yeah.
one.
Last week we didn't hit any round sevens.
Yeah.
As games or as patches do go longer, the games tend to go longer themselves. But with the second Radiant Blessing, you're actually probably going to be doing a little bit more damage at 5-1 than usual. So we'll see what happens as we do have the Hurricane now on the Kale in the back line, which is going to, butter up a lot of people for this Draven, who is starting to ramp up. And once Draven gets that first kill, it's you have like 10 less than that, 5 seconds to stop him, or you Heimerdinger
Ooh.
ult. But there's a secondary option, which is the Yasuo. But now the itemization comes into play here with the Gargoyle Stoneplate and the double Dragon's Claw there with the Radiant. This is going to be very similar
Oh,
to
no.
that Ashe round. I think the Galio probably loses here again,
Yeah.
especially in overtime.
Oof. I see.
Icy gets
Feels bad.
5th place. Crispy Burger switching places. One of our Kales did fall out of the top 4, but we're going to see Jukyu, Crispy Burger, Sherbet, and Admiral Zhao
Ooh.
as Jukyu gets Aphelios 3, and we might finally see an Aphelios win a lobby for the first time in what feels like forever, because
Yep.
Aphelios 3 is a gorgeous unit.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, if you're able to get that Aphelios 3 online, that could be the lobby winning one. Doesn't have to just be second place Andy over here. Admiral Zhao, 6 Sentinels, 4 Cannoneers. I mean, this is a super strong board. It might find some good results into Chrissy Burger, but the front line is still just Galio 1, though. So many players running Galio, it's hard for them to tier the Galios up.
And then you
Oh,
get the Akshan
Diana.
actually goes into the Diana ult and falls. That there was a Cannoneer Akshan, so there was a lot of damage still to be had. As the Draven in the backline only needs a couple axes to get through a couple of these units. The Rakan took 3, the Warmogs didn't take that much, but this Cavalier Galio surviving till the end of the round once again. As Admiral Zhao gonna lose out. Sherbet falls into 4th place. Jukyu, Crispy Burger, and Admiral Zhao will be our top 3. Jukyu having a couple round lead at this point. We'll see if we
Yeah.
make it to round 7.
I do have to say I am impressed with Sherbet getting in top 4 from that situation of rolling down on 6 that aggressively at like the end of stage 3. Being able to actually hit Zyra 3 from that point, very, very good. Then recognize that transition over to Heimer was probably a good one. Probably a reason that Sherbet actually did secure the top 4 instead of going 5th. So I do like that play and how it turned out. But now, yeah, it is just the top 3. Jukyu won the last round. It's kind of hard not to win when you have Aphelios 3. This is one of the more capped versions of the composition with Ivern 2, Revenant frontline. Throw a blue buff on Volibear, why not have him ult a bit faster?
You got the blue buff, but you also got the ZZ Rod, and that's how you kind of compensate for having your front line be taunted, right? Hey, everyone's going to be taunted with this Volibear, and we have the blue buff, so we're going to be able to jump, and we're going to be able to make this work, and it's going to
Yeah.
be at least the front line,
It
right?
interrupted the Lucian ulti, too.
So it
Big.
turns out to work out really well, and that's a huge win there, as Admiral Zhao should be eliminated. We'll see it after the transition here. Crispy
Yep,
Burger
both
also
players.
loses, and that is it. No round 7 for the 5th lobby in a row, as Jukyu coming back with the run back there. Philios 3, though, is going to make that running a little easy. There might be some
Yeah.
oxygen in their pocket to help you go those last couple miles.
A little bit. Aphelios was uncontested that game. We saw the Lucians contested, the Ravens contested, but picking the uncontested AD tree route means you're going to be way more likely to actually hit that 3-star carry. And there it is. Jukyu did it, trying to match last week's performance, if not even maybe go a bit better. Let's take a look at our scores from that last game, refresh what went on, because we'd have a double kill situation there. Jukyu did get first, but Crispy Burger secured the 2nd place. Admiral Zhao did get 3rd. Sherbet, once again, was the, I believe was the only AP composition with the Zyra then into the Heimerdinger. Got 4th from it.
Yeah.
And I see Landario, Dog Guy, and Bonzolo.
Yep, I think you are correct. And so what's really funny is over the last couple weeks, the first lobby has been moderately of a kind of an outlier. 2 weeks ago we had a Vel'Koz 3 and a Karma 3 1v1 for 6 rounds, and it was absolutely thrilling. Still probably one of my favorite 1v1s in Fight Night ever. And then we didn't see AP again. From that point on. So we'll see. Usually you start with less AP and people start building the AP a little bit later on as they find that it's less contested and people get a little bit more desperate to try to separate themselves in the standings. But yeah, everyone kind of running with the AD that time around. And because of that, the fact that our friend got into Philios 3 while everyone was running, that those AD comps is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think to get word actually, we didn't quite see the Bonzel elimination, but they were trying for the AP treat as well. Not quite sure which units though, but either way, did not have a great start to it. And I know that at least like personally, when you're in a tournament setting and you try to go for a comp and you're say like, let's just say, uncomfortable with it, it doesn't work out. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to the comforts, back to what I'm used to, maybe back to the AD trees. And it is very popular right now, of course. But I think we still have a lot to see in terms of Vel'Koz carries. Those are still super, super strong. We talked about it as well. Think that that extra Radiant Blessing does do wonders for that composition. So it's probably not the trend that we're going to see, carry on through the rest of the night.
I think that is a real possibility, especially since everyone kind of learns about each other in this first lobby, right? We do know that there are preferences now for some of these players, and we'll really see who the flexible players are and who are the people who force comps in this lobby right now. We know that Crispy can be pretty flexible, but does seem to perform better on certain comps, which is why the performance from last week seems a little bit inconsistent, right? So Juke a little bit more consistent in that play, but definitely likes going those AD comps as well, but was moderately flexible last time too. So we'll see how that matches up against this particular lobby, as there really wasn't a reroll comp there either, which was interesting because reroll comps do well in tournament settings like this, especially if you get it online quick enough. I mean, you might not win, but you're going to guarantee that top 4 by taking HP away from the lobby.
Definitely. The Kled on the board, speaking of reroll compositions, might not have any staying power though. Players have moved away from it. Although others still say that Kled, Hellion reroll is still very, very good. Jukyu going to pick up the Leona pair, not the Poppy. I wonder what the reasoning is to play this Nocturne. I mean, you're probably not going to go Assassins unless like some very specific circumstances come through. The Yasuo, for sure, there is an argument for even rerolling him all the way until tier 3. But with the Leona upgrade, with the Aatrox, might look for some Knights and redeemed early game kind of board here.
We could open Fort against the creep round for 10 gold.
Yeah, we could. That is an option.
That is an option. Just like how earlier words can rhyme, players have options when it comes to the early game. But we're going to go ahead and keep that Nocturne in because there's, wow, this is a lot of gold, actually. There's a lot of gold here.
Makes me think if that Nocturne wasn't on the board there, it could have been a sell to 10 gold kind of situation there, but the opportunity was not there. Jukyu, maybe a bit of a misplay. Maybe it was just, maybe there's something Jukyu's thinking about that I don't quite know. This board's not going to be bad by any means. The Leona 2 as a front line, very good. Legionnaires with the Yasuo. Even though there's no items for him, he's still going to be doing a decent amount of damage.
Still true damage.
I like this opener. Yeah.
Okay. Dog Guy. I think Dog Guy and Kled, that works. I'm okay with that.
What is Skarl? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, what is Skarl?
We need a fact check on that one. Maybe we'll put that into the next episode of First Truth.
Yeah. What is Skarl? What is a Skarl?
Players be like, what?
This is going to be a very slow round. Just in general, hovering the belt to see if we can take one more unit down. We have a lot of gold on the bench. We're going to lose this anyway. And we do take in 2 units down here. Are we actually going to win out? That is that highest AD right there in the game working. Base AD working out for that Leona being able to take it down. A couple Yordles really stemming the loss there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Almost by 50%.
Definitely some good work. I actually looked it up, and apparently Skarl is a lizard. That's all that I'm getting.
Lizards are the dogs of the lizard world, I hear. So we'll see. We'll see if Dog Guy continues with the dog of the lizards. Lizards are cool.
They are.
When I lived in Hawaii, there was a lot of geckos out in my house. We used to watch them all the time and try to feed them.
That's cool. My girlfriend used to breed geckos, and we have a bearded dragon in the home right now, actually. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I learned I was afraid of crickets.
You're afraid of crickets?
Yeah, I'm pretty afraid of crickets.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, crickets and worms crickets, worms, and horses. Those are like 3 of my biggest fears.
What like interesting
I
pairing.
know, right? There's a horse story in there for you, but we'll
I
wait till
bet
later.
there is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Game four.
94.
Game four is the stories come
Yeah,
true. All right.
94 HP for Bonzolo right now, and we're going to keep it at 94 HP. So when you alternate a win-loss like this, whatever you get on your second round is kind of what you want to streak on. Because if you alternate in this early round, the mid-game can be very hard for you. So we'll see if we're going to continue here. We have item slams. We have a tier 2 Irelia. So we definitely should be trying to win streak from this point.
Definitely Irelia 2, big upgrade. Apparently Jukyu out of Varus 2 as well at 2-2. So we got a lot of these early game threats already online. We'll see which players can utilize them to maintain 100 HP, though, as Jukyu did lose to, I believe, just a Hellion, probably, because 99 HP. Dog Guy and Lendario, only players at 100. Crispy Burger going to AP this time around. It looks like the Jeweled Gauntlet.
Maybe the Draconic way again. Crispy Burger did try to start with Draconic last time. Was able to lock it in, but did get off of it pretty early. As I think there were 3 Draconic players early on last game. That was a 1K crit at round 2, 3,
Pretty
4. Our Callista, that's gonna pop any of those Yordles. So win streak continues, and I think we can probably make it to the creep round if we do get at least one more pair. We're gonna get another unit in, and there's at least one spatula available for our friends here. So if someone already has one, now's the time of a Force of Nature, or we might be able to add it in a little bit later as Sherbat actually goes to where it looks like Crispy wanted it too.
Yeah, probably a lot of players eyeing it. I mean, it is a 3 cost as well. Might even just play it for a recon for like a Sentinel or something at this point in the game. But I always love, at least when casting or watching a game, the dynamic that a spatula adds to it is so exciting. When I'm playing, it's like, oh man, someone has a spat, now I gotta watch out for that. They might have like a super cap board the late end of the game, late stages of the game. But spectating it, there's so many different things that players have to consider and adjust to. And even the player that grabs it, right? Are they going to commit early to say like a spell weaver or something? Or are they going to go something more unorthodox? Maybe, I guess Renora is not super unorthodox, but still like we don't see it as one of the most common emblems, but it still can have, super big use.
Yeah, I think the most common is probably Ironclad. And then the second is probably Cavalier. And then and then like there is always arguments for things like Redeem Fiddle can be really good. But sometimes your spatula just hangs out on the bench and you just look at it the whole time when you pick it up from the carousel, because maybe the item never drops. Maybe your plan has changed, because sometimes you're going, one direction, then all of a sudden you're going to another place. And the spat that you were planning for does not belong in the comp that you're actually ending up with. And that's worst case scenario.
Best case scenario happening for Lendario, though, on the other side of that right now, is they're still the only player at 100. Sherbat down in 8th, but not by too much, though. At 80 HP, it's not terrible at this point in time. No players are going to be like super open forwarding, anything like that, it seems. Just kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah, traditional. Which is a little refreshing, because we do get a little bit of I like to say shenaniganery here at Fight Night, and so sometimes these traditional lobbies are a nice little respite from some of the polarizing lobbies we might get, like 6 spatula lobby we had with Yiggles 6 weeks ago that I will forever remember. But we've got the Stone Plate and we've got the Hurricane. Great starting item combination for the Olaf. We also have the Aatrox too. The Hurricane's definitely going to help. And, we've got a Deathblade Tristana with the Last Whisper. That might stick. That really might stick.
It could be one of our potential reroll compositions. It is not going to be good enough right now, barely. And that's the power, as you're just mentioning, of these items on the Olaf. You get a damage item like the Runeans, and you stick kind of whatever tanky item on him, Gargoyle Stone Plate. It's going to allow him to have more staying power on lower HP, so that he'll keep healing back up. And, of course, with staying alive, deal more damage. Olaf, super good early game unit for that. It was barely enough to beat the Tristana. But that could be a reroll composition. The Tristana, she was reworked a couple patches ago. Is not the best, I would say, but can work.
We don't really see Last Whisper on, it used to be Draven, right? You don't need it anymore. Some people still build it just in case, maybe out of habit. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out what your late game comp's going to be. And if you're already at 3-1 and you don't have a Tristana 2, here we go. We do finally get our Tristana 2. So we might end up winning a little bit harder than previously, as this comp can actually go a couple directions, but we're going to keep it with Draconic right now and our triple spell weavers, because our items are moderately flexible for what could happen a little later.
Yeah, it might look a little awkward that there's 3 spell weavers on the board, but Zyra's, of course, one of your Draconics, and it's a brand 2 and a Ziggs 2, so you don't want to take them out either. But we can still make it look a little bit prettier when we level up to level 6. For now, though, it's going to be Admiral Zhao with a lot of gold, level 5, 50 gold, and some decent tier 2 upgraded units, right? Kha'Zix is going to be good at just, killing 1 or 2 units. And a Vladimir with a Death Cap Slam. There's a lot of players leaning towards the AP tree in this game. I believe there was just 2 in the last game, but now even looks like potentially up to 3 or 4 in this game.
TFT is a funny horse, man. Sometimes it sprints, sometimes it just saunters, but most of the time it's still fun to watch. And so we'll see how that's going to affect the entire lobby at the end of the day. Admiral Zhao now still running with Dawnbringer, so another potential reroll comp. This could be Chug Jug. This could be other things. Right now we're running with the 4 Dawnbringers. The best one, not quite here just yet, which I think is Nidalee, as Nidalee's power is starting to come down at this point. But Nidalee at round 2-3 up until this point can be brutal. Even at Nidalee 1, and you ask and you shall receive. But we're going to keep her on the bench, because what we have right now, we've got the auto attack damage that we need. So maybe in this comp, Nidalee not necessarily needed, especially with the renewers on the board.
Yeah, you can't really take out the Soraka because she gives Renewer. Can't take out the Riven because she gives Legionnaire. And the other ones are going to be already tier 2, the kind of the chug bug. Not the full reroll, right? Admiral Zhao is pushing levels, but it's still going to be good for this early to mid game. I don't know, Kalista, though, in the back line is going to take this round. Kalista, I think, is one of the best early game 1-cost units to carry you. So many times you can throw kind of whatever items on her, like Hodge, Rageblade, just any really AD items. Heck, even some AP items from time to time will be okay. And she's going to be allowing you to maybe even push you to a fast 8 scenario, definitely level 7, with oftentimes a sizable amount of HP.
Who would be a better 1-cost carry if you really think about it, right? I think you could make an argument for Kled.
Yeah, but Kled's up there for sure.
Yeah, but when you, I think, take it all, right? The thing that I think we all remember, especially from round 2-1 to 2-6, right, is ending around with 1 Kalista on the other side and just hoping that ult doesn't come, because it's gonna one-shot us. We've seen it a couple times already. The thing about Kalista that's really interesting is that she can stick around for a really long time. She doesn't fall off as quickly as some of our other 1-cost units do. So you can keep her around for much longer. And, like we said earlier, you can keep her around over Kale in the Legionnaire composition, which happened. As Vladimir proving that we are a unit in need of some help, but at least the units around us are doing okay right now. Vladimir definitely needs some help. I like the tanky version, but having the Rabadons on it is going to help, I guess, with the lifesteal and one-shotting early on units. But once we hit round 4-1, that Rabadon's pretty much wasted.
Yeah, gonna need to pivot over to something else. Is the Reforger on the bench? You can always think about Reforging, but with getting a first pick Vel'Koz with a tier, probably don't need to consider Reforging anything at this point. We can go Shojins, have the sword on the bench, have a death cap right there. Definitely feeling good about that one. It's really, really interesting how the Stage 3 carousel can bail some players out if they're not going for these kind of reroll strategies, which a lot of players in the bottom of the HP standings, oftentimes would be. But if they just happen to low roll, get a 4-cost, has a good item, boom, you're right back in the game.
Exactly. And we get another opportunity at 5-1 to even get back in the game, right? So
a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, we go over to Dog Guy now, running rats. Hopefully you're not a terrier, or else these rats might have a little bit of an issue being around here. As Dog Guy now going to keep running with this Tristana. We're behind on this comp, that is for sure. It might not feel like that as 70 HP. That's more of we're not being super punished for a slow start, because if we're looking on the other side of the board right now, Crispy Burger purposely slow start, right? So this might be friendly. We might have a little bit more time to work with the Tristana and get that to Tristana 3, and we finally have money to roll too.
Yeah, I don't think actually in this position Dog Guy is going to be going for Tristana 3. I think the pivot of what we're going to is going to be the priority, especially because of holding the Draven on the bench. Makes me think that this definitely wants to turn into something else, like an Aphelios or a Draven, or one of these
Yeah.
other AD carries. And I think the level 7 roll down is also going to suggest that as well. But now we get the Radiant Armory. Rapid Light Cannon would definitely scream Draven. But Banshee Silence, Radiant
So good.
Redemption, yeah, both could
Banshee
be good.
Silence
But
is
Banshee
just
Silence is,
good.
yeah, you like always. If you don't know what to take, just take that every time.
Exactly. Or there are like 3 items that I feel like are like that. Banshee Silence is the #1 of those.
Yeah.
Like it is a very obvious this
Oh,
is gonna
wow.
help. As now might be the time. We got 2 Dravens now. The Last Whisper is a little interesting as we have an item fly off the board. And we're gonna make the Bloodthirster now, which also does scream a little bit of Draven.
Yeah,
We're gonna
also
keep
screams
the.
Triss too,
It
though. So we
also
might
screams
be sticking with the,
Tristana.
especially with the Morellos, right? That's a like perfect best in slot cannon item.
Yeah.
And yeah, that means we're gonna maybe just stick with Hellions.
We'll see. Let's see where this Tristana does end up. It was a Zeke's for Bonzolo. This Senna, so funny, throws cotton balls, but the ultimate actually pretty brutal in the early game. AoE damage early on can be pretty hard to deal with. There's that Callista 1v1ing someone. I bet the Callista won. There it
Yep.
is. The Callista won. It's round 3-6, by the way.
Crispy
And
Burger is
yeah.
gonna be getting the stimmy. Let's see. Oh, is that a 5-turn egg? 5 Draconic.
And a Rage Blade. Oh,
It's time. Everyone's watching for the stimmy. There's so many.
I actually.
She's just not okay. It's
Oh,
about
it
it.
sucks. Okay,
Yeah.
so we do get some gold, at least.
Uh,
I'll use some more caster words for that. That was an unfortunate stimmy for Crispy Burger.
yeah.
That was more. I mean, like it's like when you're wanting a burger, but you actually get like a Beyond Burger instead. It's like you were tricked. And so Crispy Burger feels a little tricked right now.
Yeah.
But we have that egg, and that egg can have a force of nature. That egg can have 2 Nikos in it. That egg can change the face of this game. So definitely going to be looking at it, especially since we also have a rare Draconic 3 egg about to pop out, which could have another Galio, which could actually, I think, have an item component in it as well. So, and this is one of my favorite Radiant items. The other one that I was kind of thinking of, if you don't know what to take, just put Frozen Heart on one of your frontliners, and that should work out until you can find someone like a Diana to put it on. And Fiddlesticks is one of the best units for that already.
Oh, yeah. Look at him.
Yeah.
It ults almost instantly, gets into the backline, slows everyone's attack speed. So,
the fact that there's
so
a
good
tear on it is pretty big for a lot of our frontline units.
It gives the extra starting mana as well. It's just like, it's so good.
Wow, that was a Vel'Koz 2.
Yeah.
That lost there at 4-1. That's probably some of the earliest we'll see a Vel'Koz 2 lose, as we're still getting some eggs. And what we did was, instead of greeting out a couple 5-turn eggs, you can only really conceivably hatch 2 of them in a game, like for sure. So we're just going to move back down to Draconic 3 and transition out of it.
Crispy Burger did get 2 components from the 3 Draconic egg that hatched. Oh, what a Volibear on 7? Wow. That is big. And then we find a Vel'Koz as well, so transition is happening. We can get out of the Draconic.
Got 8 seconds.
I mean, this board is has everything it needs right now. I just need to put the items on. Positioning first, then items. This is the correct line of what you want to happen. You can even build an Ionic Spark as well, and yeah, that goes onto the fiddle. I like this a lot. Gunblade, perfect.
So not only is it going to take forever for these units to get to their ultimates, right, because of the Frozen Heart, they're also going to get damaged from it once they do finally get there, which is definitely a feels bad. As the Yasuo, though, always something that you got to worry about, but Lux is one of the best 1v1ers in the game, and we are going to be able to see that happen again. Kalista and Lux might be up there for best 1v1s that you can ask for, especially in this situation. That's going to be a kill. Yep.
There we go. Overtime Lux deals damage. That is for sure.
Overtime Lux. The first ever character I bought in League of Legends. And I bet
Lux?
Yeah. I bet that's I bet that's the same for a lot of people. Not
yeah,
normally someone
pretty common.
that you would expect me to play, I think. But overall, isn't there a meme that Lux makes like $1 million each skin? or something
Honestly,
like
I
that
would believe it.
because she's so popular and she's like
Yeah.
so easy to make skins for. She has so many good ones.
Yeah.
And I have all of them because I'm obsessed with that character for some reason. I think it's because it was first, right?
Yeah.
And I bought Elemental Lux, and it was like,
Oh,
well,
of course.
I need to go buy the other ones because some of my favorite ones, like Spell Thief Lux, is probably my favorite Lux skin, and it's nice and simple,
Oh,
no
I
special
have that
added
one, I
effects.
think. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been in the game
exactly.
for a long time.
Yeah, simple sometimes is fine. I wish more people understood that. I wish I understood it better. As this is going to be a Warmogs, and you already see how just that little bit of health regeneration just delays the game for that board. Eventually, you're going to get beaten, but maybe the Vel'Koz doesn't ult long enough this time, or maybe he doesn't hit you at the beginning and needs to window wash over to you, and during that time you've developed enough health to survive. So it does need a little bit of help from the opponent, but can still work out, as a tier on Kale is one of the worst options you can ask for. But that is 5
Could
gold,
go Hodge,
and
yeah.
tiers can go into a couple good items for everybody, right? It's one of the best kind of hybrid item components that you can ask for.
Yeah, it could be. I believe there was a Kale on one board. Could go Hodge on that one. It was also Crispy Burger taking another Vel'Koz, so Vel'Koz pair there. Icy is going to be grabbing the Kale, play it as a Legionnaire. Not bad. There is a Draven with some few really, really good items here. I mean, I guess actually Deathblade isn't like best for Draven. I think like IE is going to be overall have like more value, but still Deathblade is very good. Same with paired with the Rageblade and the Giant Slayer.
I think the math is something like you do less damage for your first 2 kills or something
Yeah,
like that, and then
which are the ones like
that,
really important for the Draven. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit heavier to think about with the Draven, to be honest with you, because it is like better at the end, right? When you get that stacked, it's better. But at this point, it's worse, and you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Get in CC. It was the front line. Frontlining a Draven 1 is so risky, right? Because you can get punished by a lot of things, as we literally just saw in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we do have confirmation. Dog Guy is staying with the Tristana, is 1 away from Tristana 3, and still has decent HP, right? 52 HP, is not in Stimmy range. I believe, Sherbet did get Stimmy last round, and still lost again, so is at 20.
It's only
Burger
gold,
is
right?
hatching the Draconic Egg. It's time, Boop.
Everyone's watching. Look at everyone join. Oh my goodness! 3 Thieves Gloves,
3 components.
So why would? Okay, so I think there is a little bit of masochism happening here, because, or I don't know what the right word is, but I did just say that. Is the fact that you would get item components with your Thief's Gloves,
Yeah,
which I think is kind of
sucks.
mean. Like, that's just mean. Like, here are these free items, but also better potential items and components. You decide what you want.
Choose your own adventure, but there's too many adventures to choose from with all these items. I mean, the board's still really strong, even though it's a Vel'Koz 1. Gracie Burger leveled to 8, is playing 3 Redeem, 3 A-Bomb. We put a Heimerdinger in, and yeah, Rageblade Bow with the Thieves Gloves, that's good enough, is going to have decent gold, right, to continue rolling on 5-1 and hit some really, really good upgrades. I mean, I really, really like this. We can even consider replacing something with the Ivern. It is hard, though, to take anything out at this point. All these synergies are very good, but maybe after hitting Vel'Koz 2, could just push 9.
This lobby is going to go quick, because if the HP totals for everyone are this low, like 64 at the top at this point in time is on the lower side.
Yeah,
that is, it's not a complete outlier, but it's definitely approaching. And so what this means is, for example, Crispy Burger might actually be able to take 16 HP from Jukyu, right? Ooh. Because of how strong we are right now.
Yeah.
More items.
More items.
More items that I wish we could put on other things, but we have Thieves Gloves instead.
Yeah, like this Shroud of Reverence, right? The Radiant Shroud. It's going to be super good, but it's awkward to put it on the most of these units. I guess on Volibear, like, it's going to be super good and probably going to be the pick. And yes, there it is.
Yeah. Wasn't
Burger
there
takes the Shroud.
A world where on Fortune you purposely lost at 6, so you didn't get the Thieves Gloves?
Yeah, you avoided. Oh, which one was that? I think you avoided 8. It was like 6, 7, or 9 you wanted to proc, because 8 gave you like a couple Thieves Gloves that you didn't want.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
sure that
so
was,
that's pretty much what happened here, unfortunately.
We have a Kale carry.
Yeah, and a Tristana.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Comps we weren't really expecting.
Yeah, there's that Kale. needs to tell some secrets and is gonna get bailed out. Feels,
Is it
you know,
gonna heal up? Oh
yeah,
my god.
Hodge. Oh,
What the Kale?
Kale?
Is she good?
Kale's good? Oh man, I hope so. I want to play Kale so bad. I love playing Kale.
I really not think, especially with Kale was hooked to the middle of that fight. There's no way. There's no shot.
Gonna go ahead and just say it. It's a little bit of a slow lobby. So,
I thought you were gonna say like Kale diff, Kale's OP, but no, nothing like that.
It's a little slow. And if y'all are wondering what that means, is the peak power levels are all still around the same places. For example, Juke just got a tier 2 Ash, right? Second place has 41 HP. So again, if you have a really strong comp right now, you're going to be taking a ton of HP away from your opponent. So you want to be on that side, of course, of the line. Let's see how well this goes. 3 Ironclads should definitely help. The Zeke still does work. The hook goes onto the Diana, which doesn't get any CC onto the Kale in the back line, but this should be a little bit harder to win, especially with the Runins. But that's a lot of healing, dude.
It is so much healing.
And it's still... Yeah.
The interesting thing is that Ronzal's running this Kale and it's working out right now, but okay, I was gonna say it looked like they wanted to pivot into Aphelios and Ukshan because they were holding those units on the bench, but actually just sold one of the Aphelioses for a fiddle. So maybe Bonzolo's saying like, hey, this Kale's actually kind of farming. Let me keep with this for now. There's no Legionnaire on this board either. It's just the Rage Blade really gonna be benefiting the attack speed because sold the Aurelia. Put the items that were on the Aurelia on now to the Rel, putting 4 Knights in, 3 redeemed. I mean, this is still a good board. I have to take out an Ironclad, 3 Ironclad, but I think for a Galio 2, that seems worth it. Not sure why this Galio 2 is sitting on the bench.
Okay, Teemo gets Zephyr'd again, missing the Kale. We do get a nice Vel'Koz ultimate. That's the worst case scenario. And this is the risk with Kale is you invest so much into it, right? Like 80% of your damage can come from that Kale at the end of the day. And so when the Kale loses early, a sure bet does that at round 5-3. You're going to lose by 8 units. You're going to lose by 7 units. There's no coming back from an early Kale defeat. So not only are you building, a really skinny carry in the backline, positioning becomes important. You might get bailed out because another comp is weak, like when we got hit by the Thresh Hook, but we just saw there, one Vel'Koz ult was all it needed to almost half our HP total there.
Yeah, the Vel'Koz was also 1 away from a Vel'Koz 3. And speaking of tier 3 units, Juke has Leona 3 and Varus 3. Has lost the last few rounds though. This Varus only has 2 items, now perhaps a third with this Hand of Justice. Or just playing the Viego. 4 Rangers. 4 Rangers with a Varus carry seems a little weird, I would say, because a lot of Varus's power here is going to be with him, his ability, not necessarily his auto attacks. Auto attacks, of course, after to proc it, but it's a bit strange. Like somebody, I would say, quote unquote, dead units.
His ability is going to make everyone else better, like you said.
Yeah.
We have the Hodge, so we might be able to get a lot of those ultimates off. I like Varus with Akshan a lot, but we're not there yet. And this Varus, already at risk, does do enough, I think, to help this round win, but that was not a guaranteed round win there. I do think Juke could lose that round if positioning was a little bit different, as this one's going to be Draven. That's so Draven. Losing the 1v1 there against the Aphelios. It's all about the ult generation at that point.
Yep. Lendario. Looks like they're running an for Nightbringer for Legionnaire board. Okay, it was the Yasuo. Here we go. Assassin Riven, tier 3 Lee Sin. Very far away from a tier 3 Yasuo. While this board's in first place right now, I do not think this board really has any chance to win the lobby, at least with how it looks right now.
It is a pretty tight lobby, and it was, slow going at the beginning, so we might be able to sneak in remember when Numana was able to get top fours with like awful comps just based on positioning, right? So that could definitely happen. But we still have 7 people remaining at 5-6. Things are starting to shape up pretty clearly, though, in terms of who has the strong comps. It's Crispy Burger there on fire. Dog Guy with the Tristana is something that you really have to think about. But this Yasuo isn't going to last for any time at all. The targeting here on the Tristana might be perfect for this round, as the ZZ Rots get held up at gunpoint by the Misfortune, and the Tristana is able to cannon her way elsewhere. As we do get an elimination, Sherbat and Icy, is going to get minus 12 points. If anyone got that reference, that means you were watching at the very beginning of the cast, and I love you.
Jukyu also falls. Forest 3 not good enough. And now we have a 3-item Dragon. Dawnbreaker actually does get a bit of value in this composition. So that's not bad. Other items, I mean, the rune ends, extra rune ends for a Yasuo, decent. ZZ Rot, there already is 2 ZZ Rots actually on the Lee Sin, but you know what, might as well put a third on this board.
Yeah, Dawnbringer spat, lovely. That's gonna matter for a unit. Here we actually could be a little bit more flexible and take a Dawnbringer out and add the spat onto someone else.
Still trying to hype this Yasuo 3. Wow, it's 2 away.
Yeah, we do need the Nidalee on the board, though, for that skirmisher. Are we going to get that Yasuo 3? Oh,
Riven 3.
Get Riven 3. That's an Assassin Riven with a Frozen Heart, by the way. That Frozen Heart used to be a strictly Assassin item back in the day, if you remember. Like a Collie with Frozen Heart.
Yeah, double Frozen Heart Pike back in the day, too.
And so we're doing a little bit of that cosplay here. But with the ZZ Rot on the Lee Sin, this Riven's actually only going to take the aggro of whoever they're attacking after they take down their first unit, which is going to happen right now. It's going to be the Aphelios versus the Riven, and there's just too much. I mean, the ZZ Rots at that point probably could have taken them down.
Yeah. All right. Bonzolo drops very low 4 HP. Admiral Zhao is going to take a big hit here, and that's going to be elimination, actually. Wow, we have our top 4. It is Dog Guy, Crispy Burger, Lindario, and Bonzolo. Bonzolo, though, is pretty distinctly towards the bottom of the standings amongst the 4. It'd be really hard for them to get anything other than 4th here.
1 Yasuo away.
Oh, it doesn't hit.
No. He's hanging out with the Mall of America with the rest of Wisdom.
Yeah, that announcement. Big stuff for Wisdom,
That's
actually.
so cool. I'm so excited for that. So I used to work in the themed entertainment industry, and I'm so excited to see esports and that marry each other, because I think it's going to work out really well. So I'm so excited for what they're going to do in the future, especially since the Mall of America also has a roller coaster inside. And if I ever needed another reason to go there to just really experience American consumerism at its highest level, then why not? I actually really do want to go, because there's a Nickelodeon park and there's a roller coaster inside. But anyway, Vel'Koz going to do work here. Don't ever count Yasuo out. This was a Yasuo 3. It actually might have won. But we're going to end up losing instead. Dog Guy with the re-roll. Crispy, our 2 bottom lobbies, as we do get that Yasuo 3 with double Runins and the RFC.
All right, I kind of stand corrected. I didn't think that it was likely for Lindario to land on this Yasuo 3, but has made it work and still has 19 HP. They did lose the last round, of course, but Yasuo 3 the last round could have made a difference. It might be able to clean up some rats, like this Tristana Hellion composition. So, winning the lobby, I think, is realistically back on the table. The Shroud, though, is going to hit the Diana and the Riven. Watch this Yasuo work. I mean, he's in the back line, has the Radiant RFC, and yeah, he's making quick work of these rats. As anticipated, the Kennen not going to be able to do enough either. Does revive from the GA, but
what a
not
different
enough.
result. Remember the last time Tristana pretty much targeted perfectly. Yep. Bloodthirster, Hextech Gunblade. Oh my goodness. That's a cool amount of health. Someone's going to build a Hextech Gunblade a little bit later on Lux, and that person is me. So we'll see how well that works. It's obviously good enough for a top 3. It might have been a Thief's Gloves roll, but I can just forget that part. Dog Guy now. Everyone's looking up at Crispy, who I don't think has lost in 8 or 9 rounds.
Yeah, no. And, okay, gets a Banshee's Claw as well. Big item to get at this point in the game. Going to be blocking some pretty impactful spells, perhaps a Diana ultimate, perhaps a Kennen ultimate. Both things that Crispy Burger has to worry about. IE now on the Riven as well. A lot of potential damage. Looking for a game to capture. Yes, we are. Here we go. Blue buff and Diana as well. She's going to cast a lot faster. Repositioning happening. Just going to keep the Diana middled, actually. And this might be really, really good into this Tristana.
Ooh. Oh, it's a race. Oh, the Tristana did get away, but Riven was actually able to hamper her down, lock him down. So it's going to be the Riven going to take that round. We can definitely move away. Together with the Yasuo, that is scary.
Oh,
Crispy
Yasuo.
Burger loses to the Yasuo. Yasuo 3 is a very, very successful Fight Night comp. Yeah. There are certain comps, like, that are reach comps. Like, yeah, I could say Six Spellweaver has never lost a lobby in Fight Night, right? But we only had 2 of them, so or 3. But when it comes to these Yasuo 3 comps, if you were to say, like, an average placement, it's like 2.3 is the number I'd make up.
I'd say you're probably about right on that. I like that number.
Yeah, and so, but as you could see, I mean, it took forever, but whenever we've seen this kind of reroll Blade Master or Yasuo or Duelist or something like that, it's always the Yasuo. There's always someone who's able to tier 3 it, and that person usually ends up in the top 2.
Might happen again. Lendario did win technically both those last rounds into both players. We'll look to do it again, at least this time, versus Crispy Burger. Crispy Burger did upgrade the Volibear into a Volibear 2, and that might actually be the difference maker. It's going to allow Vel'Koz the chance to get another ultimate off, but no, the Riven in the backline gets flung away, but still wins the round. The Dog Guy goes out in third. We're going to go, Boop, for the first time in a while, into Stage 7.
Maybe not for long, though. Crispy Burger, on one life here. Yeah, though XI could lose this next round and take us to 7-2, depending on how much they lose by. But Lee Sin 3 in the front line with double ZZ Rot Gargoyle Stone Play. I mean, that's one of those bread and butter combinations, like i.e. Last Whisper, Gargoyle, ZZ Rot. Those go together so well. And it's going to protect this back line pretty easily, to be honest with you. And to also put it into perspective, this Riven is moderately tanky, so especially with that Frozen Heart. So you can't take the Riven out of the equation easily like that either. So, I think we're going up against a Vel'Koz that we're 1 Vel'Koz away for Vel'Koz 3 for like the last 4 or 5 rounds, I believe. So unless that Vel'Koz 3 gets hit, I don't see it winning against this Yasuo, as we actually sold him to get some other units.
I think that was Admiral Zhao, actually.
Okay, so it looks like we've got some Vel'Koz action anyway coming here, and it's going to be some good units, but it's going to be all up to the Volibear to keep this Yasuo in check. 1 ult was already used. We're CC'd forever. All right, now it's time to all eyes on the Yasuo and really see where that's going to go. Riven in the back line, but the Vel'Koz doesn't take notice of the Yasuo. Whew, unlocks with his key, because he has a key. And Yasuo takes the win there. Not 2.3, higher than that, 1.0.
1.0 is a pretty good average in TFT, it turns out, at least as of tonight. We see some reroll finally. Tristana, Yasuo. Saw an actual, like, fully focused Kale carry as well. So, seen a lot of different things in this meta. Let's go ahead and take a look at the scores after those 2 games and see where these players are at. Crispy Burger, very consistent, is indeed impressing, as you were kind of hoping for when we started out tonight. Boop, and is at 16 points. Jukyu, Lendario at 13, Admiral Zhao at 11, and then Dog Guy, Sherbat, Bonsolo, and Icy. But still, it's just 2 games, right? Still, anyone can make their way up to the top.
Yep, whenever you have the whole lobby within 10 points, it's still anyone's game, though it is a lot of pressure to stay at the top. I think it's easier to climb than it is to stay. So we'll see what happens to the top of our leaderboard going into halftime.
Halftime indeed. 2 games down, 2 to go. Don't go anywhere, because we will be right back with more Fight Night Rising brought to you by Wisdom. See you soon. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom. We are 2 games in the books, Boop, and we got 2 more to go. But what have you thought about the first 2 games? I would say the couple lobbies that we've seen have been a little bit varied in terms of their pacing, in terms of what people are prioritizing. Didn't see any reroll, and then we saw Tristana and then Yasuo. I mean, and these are players that we don't really have too much info on, right? These are Masters players trying to perhaps break in to the larger TFT esports space. But what are your thoughts after those first 2?
Love seeing Draconic hanging around,
True.
seeing those eggs hatch. Always fun, right? I think we're all still trying to just kind of get the magic of fortune, back in our
Yeah.
lives. We did just do chat knows all, and fortune was voted the most missed origin, I think,
Yeah.
out of every origin. And what was actually really funny is 3 of the top 3 were all the same vibe. It was Space Pirate was, I think, number
Yeah.
2,
It was like
right?
fun, right? Those like what people like you get excited about, they like seeing
Yeah.
this like, oh, big drop, some gold, like things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or when a player gets completely screwed over by 3 Thieves Clubs and 3 item components, which is like, a battery or magnets trying to go up against each other, right? And they're just, pushing away is kind of what that is. It's like,
Yeah.
why would
It
you need
wasn't that
item?
bad.
But if you need, if you have 3 Thieves Gloves, why would you need anyway?
Yeah, no,
Because
it's like it's not great, right? In terms of just the TG and items, but you have a 5-turn egg, you get a 5-turn egg, right? It's like you work with what you got there. Ended up being
exactly.
decent. And Chris
Yeah,
Berger got second. And
we
is
take
currently in
those.
first place going into this game number 3, as we are on the convergence once again with Lendario. To be our lobby winner of last game with that Yasuo reroll. Pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty good, especially if you win out on that lobby. It was a late Yasuo reroll. Other lobbies wouldn't have given them the time to do
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
But I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So what Crispy Burger was running there as like a second or third place comp, that Vel'Koz, is something that notoriously does finish in that realm. But if you were able to get that Vel'Koz 3, for example, that was on board for somebody, or if we were able to kind of nudge Xi away from the Yasuo and scare him off of it, that could have been the only way to do it. But when you scout, there's no one else going it, right? Everyone's similar HP totals, and you've identified that you have the time, then you got to do it. But that's
Yeah.
actually some kind of information gathering that XI had in that particular situation, and good on them to not freak out and completely bail because it wasn't coming. Because that Yasuo 3 was only there for like 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, there was a time where like there was a Lee Sin 3 that was been on the board for a couple rounds and they only had 4
Mm-hmm.
Yasuos. I'm like, okay, you just push levels right now, don't even worry about the Yasuo, right? But they're like, no, stick with it. Lobby's not that strong enough to punish me. It's super hard, have a decent amount of HP. And yeah, recognition of their spot in the lobby, everyone else's strengths. I think that was obviously the right call in hindsight, right? It worked out. Hit the Yasuo 3 on the lobby. Some impressive stuff. I would say not every single player, not many players might have done the same thing there.
Yeah, I probably would have gotten pushed off. I mean, there are some players who literally will change comps the second they see someone else running it, right? So because they want to find that comp that there's going to be comps that are competitive, right? You've got your Hellions in the early game. A little bit later on, you might be competing for Aphelioses, but there's usually one comp that is uncontested, and you just got to get the units, right?
Yeah.
It's you just kind of hoard them all up in a fast enough time to get their value and push the rest of the lobby down. And in that particular lobby, you didn't really need to go fast. It was like everyone was pacing each other, and then the last 5 rounds, like a ton of HP got taken off the board.
Yeah. Definitely. This round, Lendario versus Jukyu is gonna look to be a Jukyu victory here. Olaf at low HP, attacks very fast, sustains up. Both players level 3 though. A little bit surprising. Oh no, excuse me. Jukyu was level 4. Or did he level up mid-round, actually, it looks like there? Because he was level 3 that started, right? I'm not crazy.
I didn't quite catch it
I think
myself.
so.
Might have. We do have a Nikos now for XI, so definitely going to take note of that as Admiral Zhao going to be who we're riding along with now. And we have some Sentinels. We saw a lot of people competing for Lucian in that first lobby, and then no Lucian to be seen since that
Yeah,
day.
true. Perhaps, once again, this game, I mean, Lucian is very standard, very kind of easy. One of those, vertical synergies. So just go 6 Sentinel, a couple of Cannoneers, a couple of splash units in there on level 8. You want to go Ironclad, Mystics, whatever. Pretty straightforward and strong. So be surprised if there's still no illusion moving forward, i.e. plus another glove. These are items that do lean into illusion composition, right? You pair the IE and Jewel Gauntlet together. Fantastic for the illusion build.
Ooh, this Aatrox should be able to take this, at least the Olaf. And we're going to get a little bit of
Maybe
peel
more?
from the Syndra. Oh,
Ooh.
perfect timing on the Syndra ult. Unfortunately, I think it's going to still be the same result
Overtime
as...
Syndra cast. Oh! It actually is.
As I talk slower to make sure I'm not wrong. But yeah, but yeah, the Syndra cast, you called it, man. That was... Whew. I love TFT. That's the type of stuff that like really gets me.
It is a game of inches as well, but inches we mean seconds, milliseconds. If overtime didn't happen right there, right, and Syndra had casted before overtime, the Syndra would have just died.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so literally any delay on any of that, that result probably is a little bit different because the pickup and peel from the Syndra happened, like you said, at exactly the right time, gave us time. They had to run back to the Syndra. We had a little bit of defense because of the redeemed, and then we were able to do the double pop there.
And we're not going to feel the implications of that like right now, but we might when we get to the end game and you're, 6 HP up or down, and that's the difference when you go in, say, like 6th or like 3rd or something like that, and that happens like often. So I'd be thinking about that.
Yeah,
I mean, every single time you can.
We had a lobby not too long ago where people were like, we had 5 people at single digit HP.
Mm-hmm.
And it can happen, and single unit losses will matter there, as we have 1 spatula this time going to be on the Tristana.
We spats every game on this carousel. It's crazy.
3 on the first one. A lot of people can get baited into getting that spatula because it's a cool item, right? You think it gives you a lot of flexibility, but it also might just take up space on your item bench, right? So there is a possibility you don't use it, but it looks like it's going to be XI taking the spat. We're moving over to Sherbet, who has liked the Draconic opening and is going to be doing it a little bit differently this time. Seems that it could have gone that way, but we didn't get the units that we wanted, so we're just going best on board.
The board is pretty solid. There is only a Ziggs 1, but the front line is pretty amazing between the Gragas and Sejuani, both upgraded brawlers. Sherbet could also level up to 5 to protect the streak. It's a little bit honestly strange when players level up early aggressively, go on a 3 streak, and then don't push 5. We've only seen it a couple of times. And I think might actually get punished this time around against Dog Guy. This Olaf has a BT, has the shield, has some MR, has to get through the Sejuani.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Ziggs already went down. So, I mean, Sherbet might have lost this round either way. It's just weird still to not level.
And I'm going to pontificate a little bit more on that too, because if you have 100 HP at this point in time, right, you should be trying, I think, as hard as possible to streak to the creep round. At least, to the very least, because you're going to get max gold at that point in time. And you might be okay with losing out a round, but like we hit 18 gold there, we would have been 20, we would have gotten extra gold of interest, and that, adds up. And I think I was casting with Jirachi, and they did the math, and it was like this one round lost us 25 gold, right, at the end of the day. And that is the position that Sherbet's actually in right now. There is a huge difference between landing on 20 gold and landing on 18 gold in this round.
100%. Could have continued to make gold here, but holding on to so many things, right? Holding on to so many Hellions. The extra Kleds, extra Sejuanis. Like, are we thinking about Sejuani 3 from this position? Sejuani 3 does work in a couple of different comps. Reroll compositions, of course, but I don't know if we're going to be trying to reroll Ziggs from this spot. Juki running Draconics. Draconic's so popular, even in every single game. Like, even if players rotate out of it or pivot out of it to go into AD boards, still running Stage 2 Draconic, Stage 3 in some cases as well. Feels so strong. Such a good, like, econ generation point.
Mm-hmm. And, you're going to see Draconic all over ladder, too. And it's kind of like a game of chicken when you're playing Draconic with 3 other people. Who's going to leave Draconic first? Who's going to give the option to Ash 3 to somebody? Because we've seen just regular Ash 3s win lobbies here, multiple lobbies with like Rageblade Giant Slayer has been, I think, the item combination that we've seen most often. Is it's going to be IE Jewel Gauntlet for that Olaf, Bloodthirster Last Whisper for this Olaf. So this is definitely going to be going into a potential Draven or something else down the line. We have a lot of Sentinels, could also be a Lucian.
I was gonna say both of those could be Lucians, actually.
Yeah.
Potentially. A lot of gold in the form of units for Dog Guy. Could sell up to 40, but wants to probably maintain this Riven pair. Also having another Olaf to put in as a Sentinel once we do finally swap over to Lucian would be very, very good. Buys Pike as well. There's another Sentinel. Dog Guy is on a good trajectory to pivot into Lucian. Decent HP. Kind of middle of the pack. Gold is okay. It's not fantastic, and you definitely like to sell up to 40 here. And they can. We'll see if the round, though, can go Dog Guy's way, or if it will continue this loss streak. Admiral. Oh, okay. 4 Legionnaire with the IE Jewel Gauntlet Yasuo.
IE Jewel Gauntlet Yasuo. It's been a hot minute since we've seen this version of Yasuo. This used to be the Yasuo. Jewel Gauntlet used to be like one of the things you just had to have on the Yasuo, and then people kind of realized that you didn't need it. And you could just tier 3 it with some just good solid items, right? We just saw a double hurricane, RFC Yasuo, so that's like no extra attack damage work out there. The Jewel Gauntlet helps the true damage crit, which is why you would put it on there, but you're already doing true damage, so like that extra 20 or 30, or maybe when it crits a little bit more, doesn't actually go a long way, in my opinion, at the end of the day. But, we'll see.
Okay, rolling down on 3-2, which is pretty common nowadays. Trying to find upgrades, trying to find perhaps a 6th skirmisher. But is not going to find that. Instead, just plays the 2 Dawnbringer, levels up the Pike. A lot of gold rolled for not much benefit, especially if we're not putting like a Lee Sin in over an Udyr 1. Definitely could have this board be a bit stronger. Let's see if the punish is going to be here because of it.
At least we get a unit. We get 2 units off. This Riven should help this Pike with the Poppy. This might be a win here. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
as Dog Guy
6-0 win.
Gets a 6-0 win against Icy. God, I want to say Joey every time. Upon solo now, having the Runins on the Riven, so that might stay there. This is potentially looking like if you want to, a Dawnbringer reroll, but it's we're a little late on that. We do have the Syndra in the back line. So the Runins can be a couple different people, usually on some melee units, but does like living on the Riven.
Definitely a very good item for the Riven. Scanning around, sees some Zyras on the left side, so wants to move the comp over to the left as well. Chrissy Berger, level 6, 50 gold. Callista, again, very, very good early game carry. Some solid items, and these might be some Draven items. Potentially. We'll see. Is the Callista going to be enough? Or more ulti? Could do it. Oh, it's not going to hit the Aatrox.
Oh, it still might be enough.
Aatrox healing.
Oh,
it's
no!
Close. Not quite.
It was close, and the Legionnaire got neutered by the lifesteal, got neutered by the Sunfire Cape there. So I wonder if the Sunfire Cape, if that didn't exist, that probably goes another direction. But again, just goes to show it's around 3-4 that Callista almost won that 1v1 or 2v1 there at the end of that round. Good unit.
Definitely good unit. Yeah, I think it was Sunfire diff. Sunfire would have it wasn't there. I would have gone the other way.
Yep, a little bit of extra time to get another ultimate. Maybe even the auto attacks would have been enough at that point too. Yeah. But we'll see how the rest of the lobby shapes up because GQ is very low.
It's crazy as well. GQ is very low, right? But Sherbat up at the top is at 96 HP on a streak still. Imagine if Sherbat was able to maintain the full 100 streak. How much more gold Sherbat would have at this point?
You are right. Like, this is where you're losing upwards of 20 to 30 to 40 gold.
Yeah.
Like, by the end of the game. And it might seem like we're being dramatic when it comes to a one-round loss.
No, one-round loss is a big deal at TFT when it comes to a streak.
At that point specifically. right? When you can easily predict win and losses and, rounds 2-1 through 2-6, right? It's a lot easier to predict that win loss. And so when you mispredict or you just choose not to predict, right? You could lose out on that 30 gold. And you're right. Think about, especially if Sherbet is slow rolling into 50 gold every single time because they can, right? And they would have been able to do it earlier. They're obviously playing well. They're in the first part of, they're on fire. They're on a 5-game win streak, has only lost 1 round, and we're going into our first Radiant shop. But still could be better, right? There's a difference between getting a 95 and a 100 is what we're talking about. But still, when there is the ability to improve on that 5%, you should probably, if you're in school, you should probably try for that 5%.
Definitely. Can be very impactful. I see grabbing a Zeke's Harmony, but Santi Aurelia, she's going to be that kind of aura item holder with the Banshee's Claw as well. And Riven's going to be decent holding these items, and they're not on the Draven yet because we wouldn't have another kind of 4th Legionnaire. I think maybe when we find an extra Riven or something else, so we can pivot these items over. For now, the Riven's still going to be solid. We saw the power Riven, even in this game with this one, with the Rune Ends, and in previous games as well. She's got to take a bit of a long road around the rest of the comp, though.
Taking the scenic route, seeing the views around. Yep. This is an old school map from set 3.
True.
I think so. Kind of reminding themselves of their forefathers from before on the convergence, showing respect to those that came onto the convergence beforehand.
Yeah, I was very excited about that Draven. It looked like it took it and just dragged around the whole board before purchasing it. That was funny.
Sometimes you have to experience joy in some way, and when no one's around, sometimes your mouse is the only way to do it.
Yeah. GQ 40 HP got Stimmy. I don't think we quite saw what it was. We'll get some confirmation in a bit. But it's going to be on the Wolves. Nico's help is there, as well as a lot of components. Yeah, maybe it was components. It might be components.
Yeah, same wavelength, because there are a lot of components there. Here too. We're mid-transition, and Crispy must have saw that last game.
Oh, 6 Legionnaire.
And is 6 Legionnaire this time. And we're going to go ahead and put items onto Draven. There is the option to go Yasuo, but there aren't any Yasuos on the bench. There haven't been any picked up since then. Doesn't seem like we are going that direction. The intention seems to be going into Draven.
Oh man, no 6 Legionnaire. Unlucky. But we do get a Diana and a Rel. Those are 2 fantastic units. They give synergies as well between the Ironclad and the Nightbringer. Rune Ends, yeah, on the Draven. Here we go. This is a solid Draven build, especially for 4-1, and it is going to take the round against Admiral Shao. There's no doubt about it. Just look at this Draven slap. He's so good.
Yeah, Draven has had a hard time recently, so it's good to see some Draven action, especially in the later game stages, as I believe Draven has gotten into the top 3 on both lobbies so far.
Yeah,
as we do have the tome for Crispy Burger. We'll see where that is going to go
Dario
in a second. And I actually think that that tome for Crispy Burger came from a creep round at 76 HP.
Yeah, it did. Must have. And now we had, we have double death cap that was on a Kale, and now it's on a Vel'Koz. But there's also Karma here, and death caps are very good for Karma. And we also have 0 gold, a pair of Karmas.
We spent too much money on the haberdashery.
Wait, is this not just buy the pair of Karmas, and then Nico, and then blue buff? Oh, I think this is a huge mistake here, actually, for Lindario.
I think we might be a little pressured from being in first place right now, is kind of what this looks like to me.
The Spat is going to want to turn into a Spellweaver Spat later on. But we already have, 4 rods worth of items between double death cap.
Man, that's really not that much damage for double death cap. That's something that could be beaten, especially if there's another Vel'Koz, for example, on a side. Everyone's showing Nico, so there's definitely a Nico's in the Stimmy. And we do have an item remover too, so some flexibility there. We have the Reforger on the bench for some of our players. But this is interesting. I wonder if we went AP because of a lobby scout?
Yeah, I mean, AP is fine here. I mean, you had, I believe, the early game death cap. two gods,
Yeah.
whatever, we're committed.
But
But
what
just like,
AP, right? I think Karma is better against a lot of the things that we're seeing, to be
yeah,
honest with you.
honestly, even regardless of Karma being like better or worse against the lobby, it's just better for the tempo, I'll say, of this board, right? Because with being level 7, 30 HP, basically no gold, is going to make it almost impossible to land on this Vel'Koz unless we get really lucky, land on another one, and then Nico's. But if you don't have Vel'Koz 2 right now, right, you're risking losing a bunch of rounds, especially when things like that happen, where the Vel'Koz casts and then gets instantly canceled by the Pike. So you're going to be maybe dropping to like 20 or 10 HP, which, yeah, we're losing this round. And then you're not going to be able to recover, right? It's just one bad matchup that you get in stage 5 means you're going to go out in probably like 8th or 7th. The
Oh,
Karma
that
would
was
have been able
close.
to stabilize a lot more effectively, allow you to push 8, and maybe even push into the top 4 at that point. It was doable. I mean, we'll see. It's going to be able to grab the Spellweaver emblem right now. See what
The Kale
happens.
curse.
Yeah,
Goodbye, Kale.
Kale's
You
on the
come on.
board for any portion of the game, you're getting punished for it.
Even though we got 2 top 4 Kales a little earlier. No, it was 1/5, 1/2. But,
Yeah.
you know, XI still trying to figure it out, right? And I don't necessarily like gleaning a lot from the cams, but you can tell here that XI is thinking real hard. You know what I mean? It got the hand on the
Yeah.
head. We actually look a little defeated to me.
I
So
mean, if we don't roll a Vel'Koz, we're gonna look even more defeated in a
yeah,
segment.
yeah, especially since we have the Nikos, right? We could have gotten a Karma too.
Oh,
We could have gotten this ready to go. I guess we could maybe do it with the Fiddlesticks, who loves spatulas, by the way.
yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of spats can go on Fiddlesticks with no problem at all.
Spellweaver probably being the best out of them.
Only 3 though.
Only 3 Spellweaver. Good positioning though into this Draven Crispy Burger. Vel'Koz is on the
Mm-hmm.
proper side. Draven is still alive for now. Need another cast. Oh, don't even need another cast for the Vel'Koz. There is a little neat unit called Syndra, who actually does this surprising amount of damage at some points. That was one of them.
Admiral Zhao is going to take down Dog Guy, who had top forward last time around. And look at these HP totals again.
Yeah, they're pretty
at
close.
this point in time, they're all really close. No one on fire this time. Even at this point last time, Crispy was starting to make her go for it, right?
Yep.
And so now we're looking at Sherbet, and she's going the scouting direction right now. Once we get back to our board,
Yeah, it has a brand, I believe, on the board with some AP items.
We'll see what it is. Sherbet,
Yeah.
probably one of the heavier scouters so far that we've seen so far. Unable to move the Vel'Koz to the other side. Definitely seemed like we wanted to do that based on that reaction. Eventually, we want to take those items off of the brand, but again, slow lobby. If a brand carry is keeping us at 67 HP, either these comps that we're seeing right now are going to destroy us, or we're going to have to pivot.
It's actually really interesting. So I know that last name Mortdog, first name Riot, does love to play brands actually as a pivoting unit that gets them into level 8, sometimes even level 9 compositions. Not many other people besides Mort do that, but he has been very vocal that like that is a good transition point. And it actually doesn't surprise me that we're seeing, Sherbet go level 8, is still 50 HP with this brand carry, can pivot it maybe to a Vel'Koz. The main problem is that I think there's 3 Vel'Koz players in this game. I think we saw Juki already have Vel'Koz too. There was Lindario, of course, trying to go Vel'Koz as well. It's just a rough spot to do it. So maybe going into a Karma. Depends on what the roles are, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, Giant Slayer on a burn too is kind of nice. So it makes sense. It makes sense. If you have the guts to tier 3 that brand and just kind of stick it, because there's a lot of Vel'Koz right now, and you kind of just something that you can do, right, is just wait till the other Vel'Koz players die because you have the brands, right, and then just go into Vel'Koz after they go.
Ooh, Teemo.
You do play Kale kind of similarly when Kale's doing really well. So kind of same vibe here. And it looks like we are going fully Kale this time around. I would have loved to see the brand stay around a little bit longer, but I like this.
Another Teemo. Could purchase it. 41 HP.
But it's one away from getting
dizzy.
us a stimmy. Yeah, this is tough. This is a tough one.
It is. It really is.
But if you are having a hard time pivoting and you're in the midst of a pivot, and say you just develop what I like to call pivoting of amnesia, right? Which is where you hit the middle of your pivot, you look up, and you don't recognize what you pivoted into.
Yeah, I've felt that before.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
so,
where's my board? Like,
yeah, exactly. So if you get pivot amnesia, just pick up a Fiddlesticks and pick up another Revenant and build around that.
This Teemo what? Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree, and that's kind of what Sherbat's doing. And I actually got pretty rewarded there. That Teemo 1 took out a Vel'Koz 2 board from Jukyu there. Drops Jukyu to 20 HP. Bonzolo also going to 6. 5-2 Armory comes through. We get another Ivern. Get a Gwen. Like, these are good units in Teemo 2. Okay. Sherbat, all of a sudden, I think is in a super, super good spot. 3 Invokers. Can we find a 4th? Syndra waiting room.
And we're going to get the Stimmy on the next round no matter what because of the Teemo.
Yep. Maybe should roll down a bit more aggressively as well. Could have had the Stimmy currently, but it's still okay.
Yeah, and this kind of goes into that phrase I like to say, which is the longer you take to make your first decision, the less time you have for every other decision after that, right? And I think Sherbet has actually been victimized by that particular situation a couple times now. We do end up in the right place, but again, if we just got it a little sooner, maybe we get our Stimmy sooner. Maybe we don't have to buy, another Teemo. Maybe we lose a round instead, get our Stimmy that way, and Nico's the Teemo. Right, so because we know there's an Ecos in that Stimmy.
One away as well from Sejuani 3, I believe. Dog guy running Fortnite Jax is level 8.
Remover component, not
yeah.
Nico. So
not
maybe
Nico's
they're just,
Stimmy.
Sometimes Nicos just like being here. And there's a lot of them on the
Yeah, there was a lot of Nicos actually.
Yeah, so I was making an assumption, and it was wrong.
So now we're making an assumption, Boop.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you land on it, sometimes you don't. You look like a genius when you land on it. When you don't, I'm still a genius.
True.
I'll let you tell me any other way.
I like that confidence.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. It's very different. So we also have the Shroud of Stillness and the Radiant Frozen Heart on the Diana. And look at this. Every 5 units cannot attack like at all. Yeah. Pretty much at this point. The Jax can ramp up. But yeah, a lot of good tanks, a lot of good damage from the Jax, but the Galio actually frags second highest amount of damage there.
That damage was nuts. The survivability was nuts too. I thought for sure Galio was not getting that second cast off, but he did. He survived, tanked all the Diana, a lot of the time for Jax to ramp up. That was kind of a crazy round, actually. I didn't think it was going that way. The Dog Guy's board shows why Fortnite Jax did come up with some popularity, and still is a comp to be kind of reckoned with here. And now grabbing a Cav emblem is going to make this board even stronger. It can't go on the Galio, unfortunately. Wait, unless there is the remover still there? No, it's not.
No,
okay.
It's gonna go on the
or no, not still there because Dog Guy hasn't got it yet because he's 45 HP. So if he loses the round, saves the Cav emblem, could take off the Archangels off the Galio. Okay, please. I don't think Dog Guy's gonna do it though. Puts on the Garen. Okay.
That's a pretty Khroen, stop showing off. That's like a really high level play, man.
No. You know the Stimmy has a remover. Players playing in this are gonna know that Galio Cav is amazing of a itemization of a unit. It did. You know why? Because it's freaking good.
Yeah, I don't understand why I don't see it more often, to be honest with you. Like, people should just build it on them at this point, because once you get the Cav charge, like your second charge, and then you ult, like, no one's going to take you down, other than Yasuo with true damage. So maybe that's why we're seeing a couple more Yasuos, because Galio's good. What's actually crazy is that Galio used to be stinky back in the day, and then some changes happened, and look at this damage because of that Archangels. I mean, if it wasn't overtime, that probably draws out, unlike old school overtime rules.
True. Here we go. Jukyu, Vel'Koz 2 and Zyra 3, but it's still level 7. Might be able to push 8 soon. We've had some eliminations. Bonzolo out in 8th, Lendario in 7th, Crispy Burger getting her first bot 4 of the day, unfortunately. Sherbat and Jukyu on 20 HP. Still, these lobbies, the HPs are so close every time.
And that's the greatest part about getting a lobby full of players that are all pretty equal in skill, right? You get situations like these where we're going to go into the 4th lobby, and it's going to be it's going to be interesting on what those standings are, because Juke U sitting in 4th place could bottom out in 5th. Not a lot of HP, 18 HP separating first and 4th right now, and so a lot can happen. That's a big loss. Yeah, 18 HP out of the way for Juke, who also is stuck on 3 Spellweavers.
Dragon round coming through. Is going to be, I believe, a Bloodthirster there. And then we get a Skirm Emblem. That sucks. Skirm Emblem, I think, is actually the worst emblem in the game. Pretty sure I've heard Mort say that before. It is actually super, super bad. Bloodthirster not going to get that much value in this comp either, so that's a little unfortunate of a roll. Unlucky. But we'll have enough gold to go 8, I believe. We're going to put in on 8. The 4th Spellweaver. The Ziggs is on the bench, already prepped, waiting, ready to go. And here it is. All right, 4th Spellweaver.
We finally got it. We finally got it locked in. This is a comp that notoriously does do well here. The Spellweavers, if you end up getting there, right, is going to give a lot of opportunity for that Vel'Koz that they normally wouldn't have gotten, especially since a lot of ults will happen before the Vel'Koz ult to make it better. So you've got the automatic. So everyone's going to get stronger at the very beginning of this round because of the brand, to put it into perspective.
Yeah. And Juki also putting both of his carries on the same side. A lot of players would actually split them up, put them on different sides, so that if you get punished, you don't just automatically just lose the round. And being on 2 HP, you got to be worried about that. It's going to be a decent positioning, however. The Zyra does stun the Draven up, and it's going to cast again.
Ooh.
Probably kill the Draven. Oh, leaves him on 1 HP.
Oh, no.
1 HP.
Oh, Ziggs! Oh, my God. The Ziggs actually gets the last hit.
There you go.
On the Draven. The 1 cost tier 1 Ziggs just to get that 4 Spellweaver ends up taking him down. And we do have a nice little counter for our Stone Plates, which is that Gwen, which is going to steal some of that stat away from you, as well as that's a Gwen Revenant, and so that's gonna be pretty brutal a little bit later, as this is gonna be a pretty nice armory for pretty much anybody. If you're running AP, you could get Hodge or Cap. If you're running AD, there are 3 options for you, so we're happy with that no matter who you are.
Definitely. And okay, Icy gonna be rolling here instead of pushing to level 9. What are they rolling for though? There's just a couple upgrades between Irelia and Nautilus. I guess pushing level doesn't give too much. Trying to find Draven 3 as well, but those rolls were not very friendly when it comes to Draven 3 territory.
Not at all. Oh, and just as a reminder for everybody who is watching on Twitch on the computer, you can hover over the screen and find everyone's Twitch accounts and follow along as they play through Fight Night Rising. Going into the last lobby here very soon, as double Stone Plate Warmox Galio might literally eat damage for breakfast.
Yeah.
As it is not doing anything other than eating that damage, and we finally get true damage onto it, and that's the problem. So the unfortunate, as you can turn that into the target dummy, which is cool. The big issue here, right, is these are big losses, and when the HP totals are this close, people are going to drop like flies. It's rock, paper, scissors at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, Icy, I believe, or Juki got a fortunate matchup into Icy's Ghost, and so is still alive. Sherbat right now. I mean, this Teemo 2 has, done really, really big work here in this game. I think if Sherbat had not landed on Teemo 2, she might have already been eliminated. And as you were saying earlier, Sherbat's probably been our most active scouter. And so not positioning into these Vel'Kozes or into these Diana Shrouds, things like that, are going to be huge. Allow Teemo the time that he actually needs. And nice last second swap over to the right-hand side. And yeah, it's going to be on the correct side away from the Draven.
Like it. So the reason why Sherbat did that, right? So a lot of people like to be fancy and do it really quickly, right? Which you could still do. But what we did there is, what's cool about that is when they switched back, you kind of want to time it to where the person is done scouting you. So you actually just wait until their little legend leaves and then switch back, because the context and assumption that they get to make is what they last saw, right? So you can use that kind of mental play, and Sherbat did a really great job doing it just then, as we have a top 3.
Yeah, Jukyu out in 5th, Icy in 4th, Dog Guy in the top 3. With Admiral Zhao and Sherbat. have a Draven. Yasuo has been tier 3'd. Okay. The Sherbat 4 Invoker, 4 Revenant.
Ooh, Gwen
Hits the Gwen too? And I mean, Kalista too. Hey, it just makes the A-bomb a bit, a bit better.
Yeah. This is a scary board.
Very, very scary board.
And we get there because of a Teemo, right? 18 HP comes from that Teemo, right? So technically, we could still be at 38, which would be an enormous lead at this point in time, right? So I think it's good to kind of remind us like the impact that Teemo has on us losing sooner than we want to. How many times have you bought a Teemo and then lost the round and kind of realized if you didn't buy the Teemo, you'd still be alive?
Yep.
And so, yeah, but
Ooh,
if you get to that Teemo 2, one of the best stabilizers in the game, lots of damage, utility, does a little bit of everything, plus the units around are pretty good, as this Draven does seem to be wrapping up right now, but it's the only one on the board, and there's no world where that Draven's able to ramp up completely, as this is going to be a Karma comp, and if Karma doesn't like anything, it's Dragon's Claw. You'll see her pretty much lay onto the sword with every single one of these ults.
Yeah, looks like Dog Guy actually is going to be winning this matchup, this Ghost round. Admiral Zhao was eliminated. Just a 1v1 between Sherbat and Dog Guy. Rolling for potential upgrades. We're looking mainly just for the Syndra, I believe. The positioning from Sherbat in the last round was perfect into Admiral Zhao. Dodge the Diana, dodge the Shroud, also Zephyr'd the Yasuo 3. 2 Zephyrs that Sherbat has to work with. Dog Guy is going to be hard pressed to move a carry into a correct position to dodge them. Let's see what these Zephyrs hit.
All right. Okay, the Galio, which is nice. So you're going to get past the Galio pretty early, but a lot of the damage is ranged from the Teemo and the Karma, but still going to be really nice. The double stone plate, not that great, especially since the attention was split there. 3 units remaining, but one of them is Jax,
Jax
who is able to break through a lot of this. Now that we've got the ramp up, there is possibility to get crueled at this point as well. Lots of mushrooms are going out. Uh-oh.
They're whiffing.
Oh no, that was actually moderately close. Sherbat could have taken that, but we get one round to rule them all by the Teemo just because, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely buy the Teemo every time here for a bit of gold. Sherbat was really close to winning that round because the Jax got hit by the Teemo shrooms, was 1 HP. Then Teemo's second set of shrooms, I don't believe, went to the Jax. So if Teemo just like chains 2 sets of shrooms row into the Jax, he'll probably fall. That just goes pretty decisively over to the other way there into Sherbat. But a Dog Guy's on a 3-win streak. The front line is so good between the Rel Galio and the Garen. Garen Cavspat, now he's Garen too, is really, really big. The Jax as well, having the Bloodthirster, the shield, and the magic resistance to deal with this Teemo.
Man, I didn't think this really had that big of a shot to win that last round, but I underestimated Cavalier Garen there, and the fact that that's a stat decrease with that Garen ult too. So things like the Viego are actually going to be hitting a little harder if that's going to be alive. Even things like the Galio,
the Galio
doing a little bit more damage too.
Okay, the Jax gets Zephyr this time around. See it from the perspective of Dog Guy. Can this Jax survive and ramp up? That's the big question. But the Gwen actually targets the Jax, knees already out. This is disastrous for Dog Guy. The Garen probably not going to be able to make anything happen here. And yes, that is the fight going the other way to Sherbat, decisively taking game number 3 with that fight.
Yeah, so Sherbat gonna be in pretty good position going into this next game. As there was a top 4, I believe, in the first one, and like a 6th. Oh no, it was an 8th. I think in the second one. So this is the type of game that you call 1st or 8th type of play style. And right now, Sherbat living on the moment right now. So we're gonna see 10 points for Sherbat. Let's see where everyone else is going to stand here. Let's see those numbers.
Oh, it's so close, Boop. Crispy Burger still is in first, but only by 1 point now. 19 points. Admiral Zhao with a 3rd place. Decently consistent, has 18. But then there's a 3-way tie for 3rd between Jukyu, Dog Guy, and Sherbat. And still even players like Lindario, only 2 points behind with 13 there. Then we get Icy with 12, Benzolo with 8. Probably hard for Benzolo. yeah, probably not just able to get into the top 4, but everybody else has a shot, it seems. At least get into the top 4, if not the top 3.
Yeah, Bonzilla would need some tiebreaker help, and to get
Yeah.
first, and for the leaderboard to look exactly opposite of what it does right now. I think in order to to make it there,
Yeah, it looks like mathematically impossible. 3 players at 17, because yeah.
And so, Admiral Zhao, Juke Yu, you know, Crispy Burger, Dog Guy, Sherbet, and I think XI, all potentially going to win here, especially since Crispy bottomed out in 6th place. Literally gave the entire rest of the lobby an opportunity, because the top 4 probably actually solidified that, because no one is top 4 at every lobby so far.
It's been a while since we've had the possibility for up to 6 players to win. Going into game 4, like sometimes it's 5 players, you know, 4, 5,
and
is
for
kind
like
of
the top 3, not necessarily to win.
Yeah, not even necessarily to win, but now we have 6 players potential to actually still win the tournament. If you are going to be with the 15 points, who was that? That was Lendario. It's going to come down to a lot of specific things, but as always, it's tournament. You got to play for win conditions, right? Play for the first place, or you know, the top 3, top 2. Just make it to next week. That's still a pretty good win in and of itself. But this is one of the most intense nights in terms of closeness of the scores we've had so far. So let's get into it, Boop.
Into it.
Yeah, game number 4 already, wasting no time on the carousel.
Okay, so when I was on a cruise, let me tell you about my horse.
Oh yeah, it's game 4.
Okay, yeah,
time.
game 4. So I like this tradition actually. At the top of every game 4, right? We've done all our early stuff. We'll tell a Boopasaurus story. Okay, so I've always been afraid of horses, because I'm afraid of anything that can kill me.
That's a lot of things, potentially.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Horses are just powerful, right? They look powerful. I think it's kind of like more of like a fear and respect type of thing. But I was on a cruise, and this was the craziest cruise of my life. Not only was I quarantined for the first 24 hours because I had a stomach bug, I am afraid of horses. And my dad comes into the room and is like, "Hey, we have an offshore excursion." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What are we doing?" And he goes, "We're gonna ride horses in the ocean."
Wait, in the ocean?
In the ocean. So okay, because like it's kind of embarrassing to be afraid of horses, so I didn't say anything.
Okay,
right?
Of course, sure.
So we get off the boat, we go ride these horses. I get on a horse named Reggae, and the second I get on it, it bites me, which I didn't know horses would bite.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a thing. Breaks the skin, gets, you know, it's bleeding, and it's on my GoPro because I was taking a video at this time.
Yeah.
And the guy comes over and is like, "He only kissed you," and I, like, you could see the GoPro go to my knee and then go to him. And then go to my knee again because it's bleeding.
Yeah.
And then I proceed to ride that same horse in the water, which was probably one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. We get back on shore. I have to do this whole thing. And then 1 hour later, my dad breaks his leg in a dance off on the boat. So not only did we get bit by a horse, my dad pretty much breaks his leg. But that's okay. Damn. We made it all up on the craps table a little bit later.
At least there's a silver lining to this cruise. The cruise sounded like it sucked all around.
Dude, it was in the Lassard household. This cruise is legendary.
It sounds
so many things happened. I told you literally 25% of that story. Just so you know, so many things.
Next
happened.
week we'll continue.
Yeah, we'll get there. But you know, that's perfect timing, because look at that timing. We're at Route 2-1. Everyone's got their items. Everyone's starting to play. And everyone knows why I'm afraid of horses, because they bite. I just want everyone to know that horses can bite you.
True. Chad also, like we were saying, horses sense fear, so it knew. So it was like, nah, I'm not about this. You're just going to get off me right now, but you didn't. You stuck with it. Yeah. Probably pretty weird for the horse that you stuck with it. Anyways.
Riding in the water with an open wound. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Look at us. Boop, what are you doing?
Yeah. That's a very good point. Anyway, we're going to start off.
Think about that one.
Yeah, I know. It's been like 7 years, and that's the first time anyone said that to me. Anyway, that's true. It's true. I got to refocus now. Sherbet.
Yeah.
Starting off strong here. We got the top 4 obviously winning out. XI got wiped. So this is actually really good to kind of think about is, now that you're at 92 HP, right? It's only been 1 round, but you got wiped there. So what can you glean from that? Well, I'm probably going to lose every single round if I don't change my board, right? So if you really want to lose streak and you're okay with losing, you know, 0-3, 0-4 every single time, then XI actually has the easiest route to that. For example, if you're crispy or if you lose by 1 unit, the second round becomes a little stressful because it's like, do I win Do I lose? Right? We've actually seen Sherbet call it incorrectly in these rounds, and it ended up not mattering, I believe. But at the, you know, it
True.
could this time around.
True, that was the game where Sherbat did not level on 2-5, but still win streaked after that for like 5, maybe more rounds. Didn't get punished. That's good. It's basically like you were saying, Boop. It's everything like getting a 95 or 100. It's like 95 is still pretty good. It was good enough to win that lobby, but it won't be for every single game.
And yeah, the lobby is so close, right? So what do you even strategically say to yourself coming into this lobby, right? Everyone's got a first or eighth this lobby, in my opinion. I think we should.
Pretty
Someone's
much.
gonna. I think
Yeah.
someone's got to re-roll. Someone's gonna play Draconic, and someone's gonna play
Yeah.
Yasuo.
This is definitely, this is definitely the lobby where we are going to see the most, or we should see the most, like literal first or eighth, super, super, super greedy playstyle, because this game is so close, right? Even if you're at 17 points, if you get like a top 4 with a fourth or a third, like you might still not get into the top 3 invited back. Like you actually really, really need to play for that first.
Yep, it's the only way that you know you can win, right? If you want to control your own destiny, you win this lobby. And you got to throw it all at the table, right? If you're going to be playing something that's a top 4-able type of situation, like I'd avoid Tristana at all costs at this point in time, or any of those like reroll compositions that will max get you to second place, right? You know, you're not in a position like Khroen was last week where you need a top 4, so doing like a reroll Vayne comp is how they did it, right? I think they ended up getting second. So what do you do in this situation? Probably not that, right? The reroll comp that you're probably playing is Yasuo, and you know, fingers crossed you get all of them.
True. Yeah, by the way, where is Frodan? He's ditching. I expected to see him here this week.
He's playing
trying to go for that first place. He got third, then second. This week was going to be the first, but nope. Oh, another spat on the carousel. This is 4 for 4.
That doesn't happen like very often. It's a really cool item for who gets it, but can also lose you a game. We've talked about that previously, right? Like most of high-level players will be able to use their spats pretty well, but you know, if you're Diamond 2 and below, right, which I feel like is kind of like the transition from like intermediate to advanced, you're still probably thinking about it a little bit. But we have an IE Last Whisper combo, something that's becoming rarer and rarer, not just as a combo, but as 2 individual items. We don't really see the IE as frequently as we used to, because it seems like you really wanted it with the Last Whisper. So we're seeing more Giant Slayers instead. RFCs, you know, are being compensated by Zeeks. There's an amazing triple Zeeks play by Khroen, I believe, last week to help. Was it Kale?
Vayne? I think it was
or Vayne or something like that.
I think it was a Vayne.
You know, get there to second place, and wouldn't have happened with those 3 Zeeks. So
oh yeah, because it was a 2-item Vayne that wasn't 3-item Vayne for like so long, and had this. Yeah.
And since you get a second Radiant item, right, you can assume a little bit more. But just like I did earlier, you can assume incorrectly, and that's how you get a bottom 4. And that's part of the fun, right, of TFT as well. But we really need some damage now, as the Hecarim is going to stall out a little bit, but that's going to give Xi at least 1 unit kill. Actually, this is going to end up being an Xi win, potentially. Especially since that Olaf tripped?
Yeah.
He stepped in some gum?
he on wants to kill, I forget what unit it was, but then he walked forward after that. It just like looked weird. But I thought like Olaf in those situations usually thrives. It's just the Vayne burst damage with the silver bolts was too much. I really thought that round was going over to Jukyu, but now Admiral Zhao, the only 100 HP player in the lobby, looking to make it a 5 streak into the Krugs, has a Poppy 2, has a Kennen 2 even, and blue buff Yasuo, a pair of Yasuos, and as a 3rd tier on the bench. These components are very interesting.
Unfortunately, they're interesting and not good.
Yeah,
true. For Admiral
interesting is a very apt word for it.
Yeah,
it's because it's not good.
It's like when someone's like, "Do you want a salad?" and you respond with, "Sure." Right? Like, if it's around, I'll take it.
It's like, I guess.
Yeah. Again, tiers are super flexible. That could turn into a Hodge. It'll turn into something useful, just not right now. And the less, you know, rounds you use an item component, the less opportunity you get to take as much as you want from it. So it's going to be a little interesting. And honestly, a Redemption's not a bad item. especially if that tier kind of hangs out until the end of the game, and this Poppy hangs on, to this belt for a little while.
We'll see. Poppy with the belt. Definitely not gonna keep the Poppy around for that long, so we'll free up the belt sooner or later. Did preserve the streak into the Krugs, the only player who has done it this game. Admiral Zhao, 18 points, is currently in second place, has gotten a couple of third place games over the course of this day. Third in round 1, then a fifth, and then another third. So relatively consistent. Even if you get a couple, like 1/5, it's not that bad.
No, not at all. Unfortunately, all of the people who've top 4'd one time got like 7th or 8th the other time. So this is why the scores are so close. That's why I think if you're coming to fight night, having a top 4 mentality for the first 3 games and then saving your 1st or 8th for the last one could be a legitimate strategy. It's a legitimate strategy. Great video from early YouTube days as Admiral Zhao doing some thinking and hopefully doing a little bit more living on 100 HP.
Hopefully a bit more living. We'll see. Going into 3-1 against Hecarim 2, Thresh 2, and our Misfortune. Okay, this could be a Misfortune reroll. Doesn't have to be. There is a vest that's stuck there. Ken is going to get into the back line now, but no, the Yasuo is already taken down, but the rest of the units are still there. There's a Callista still alive, still. Oh, not anymore, though. But the rat comes back. Irelia won. That was a close fight, but Zhao still 100 HP. And that is the reason why you level up at 3-1 to level 6 if you are trying to maintain your win streak. That reason right there.
Yep, the extra gold you get from the win streak will actually make you that money back pretty easily. Yep. I think it's like 3 rounds. It's like not that much. So it's worth it most of the time. The times that it's not is when you like bonk on a roll. You like level up and say you're leveling up to try to access some draconic units or something and you just don't get them. When Shorebot got 8th, that's kind of what happened. And so there is always a little bit of give and take, but I would say the scales here are on like an 85-90% success rate when it comes to leveling to 6 and maintaining your win streak that way.
Yeah. Dog Guy versus Crispy Burger. Another Varus carry that has some, it's like you would see these items on the Varus and you're like, oh yeah, it's going to become a Kale eventually, but you would definitely rather it not become a Kale. Unless very specific things happen. It is good enough, of course, to be winning these rounds. Varus a very good early game item carrier with those 2 items exactly. Crispy Burger, still not level 6. In fact, is just going to pre-level? No, okay, fully levels and plays for Forgotten. But didn't want to sacrifice any economy at all. And is holding an extra Thresh and extra Hecarim. I think this is going to be an MF reroll comp from Crispy Burger.
If it's not, then you're literally just wasting money.
Yeah.
On the bench right now, and that money is life when it comes to TFT. Oh man, I just got sad because it's not just TFT sometimes, but the overarching theme on this comp is we're here and we're gonna stay here. When it comes to Forgotten, we're gonna make sure you remember us. We haven't seen this reroll comp. We've seen like versions of it as like a pivot point, as MF as an item holder, but with this Shojins, I mean, that is a best in slot item for this Misfortune. There's already been 3 ults, maybe even 4. Everyone is pretty. Oh no, that was a unfortunate spread there right at the end. But that was looking really good for the Misfortune until the Thresh hook.
Ooh, Icy already down at 40 HP. Looks like. So we're gonna get a chance to see what our Radiant Blessing is this next round. Crispy Burger is gonna be picking second. Alright, grabs a Hecarim. It does have a rod. Definitely want the MF to have some of these AP items. And Icy's running 5 Draconic. Okay, that's why we're so low in HP. Because we're gonna get the Stimmy. And then we're gonna get some eggs. And then we get the Radiant item.
In my opinion, this is the best round to get your Stimmy.
Oh, double tier. Wow,
more
double
tiers.
tier and gold.
Yeah, we're watching episode 6 of Squid Game right now on this board.
I still haven't watched it.
Just be ready, man. Just be ready. Just be when you hit that 6th episode, just automatically get the tissues, okay?
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are acceptable spoilers or not, but they already happened, so
I mean,
I'll be okay with them.
every episode's pretty intense, to be honest
Of
with
course,
you.
yeah,
So,
for sure, for sure.
so like, but oh man, I loved that show. Anyway, back to TFT. Icy at 40 HP. Galio has actually, I feel like, been the unit of the day so far today. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
3-item Galios. You know, we got the stone plates. Not a lot of radiant items on the Galio. So it does seem like if you're not going to invest that radiant into a defensive item, you can just go ahead and put your components on the Galio that you're not using. For example, your cloak and your shade vest going into a stone plate, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be where Galio works, and that's why he's so good, right? He's pretty flexible on what tanky items he can use, and is pretty beneficial on all of them. We've seen it with Warmogs. Sunlight Cape might be really good as well. As one does fly off to the side, but we're going to keep Draconic 5. These eggs are all going to hatch next round, and that's going to be a really big turning point, especially since it's a creep round as well.
Yeah. And especially if Icy can win this round as well, because they got perfect stimmy, stabilized, won that last round. If they can maintain a 40 HP, get up to a bunch of gold, roll down on 7, hit a Vel'Koz, couple of Vel'Koz, maybe in Vel'Koz 2, we'll just go that bold and say Vel'Koz 2. Then this game is very quickly turning into Icy gonna be at the top of the lobby when we get to stage 5, maybe like halfway through stage 5, but bit until we get there. Admiral Shao has 4 Yasuos. Could be committing to reroll Yasuo. It is a bit weird with the blue buff, but it's like still decent.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jax with blue buff, right? It's not amazing, but at least we get something out of it.
There's some value.
We hit our true damage sooner, right? We might crit on our ultimate, so it's going to be a little bit more. Those first 4 or 5 auto attacks just aren't going to be as powerful as other versions of it. It's going to be gold and a crit glove, which actually is not a bad. If we have a bow kind of just hanging around. Crit glove, another really flexible item component, especially for AD users. And you can put Jewel Gauntlet and stuff, or the rod with it. Spellweaver gonna hit the Ash, which tells me that this bow might be staying on. We do at least get an item, so or do we?
Okay, there's an item.
So it is going to either be a ZZ Rot, a
Banshee's
QS, a Banshees, or a Last Whisper.
Yeah, probably Banshees out of these 3 items. It also kind of sucks for Icy, because I think if Icy was able to win out 3-6, they would have greeted until 4-2 and then leveled to 8 and rolled down at that point. But taking a pretty big hit means that you're kind of pressured to stabilize on 7. Taking one more hit now on 4-1 would leave you probably like 1-hit lethal range when we get to stage 5, and you don't really ever want to be in that situation. There is a Heimer as well, but it's on the bench. Icy definitely feels a little dizzy, I would say right now. Maybe not, though. Maybe it's just a calculated amount of gold spendage, as it's going to be powerful enough to win this round. A couple more Zyras. Maybe a Zyra 3 in the future as well. Some decent items for it.
Okay. Decent items sometimes don't equal wins, though, right? You need those best in slot sometimes to claw your way up onto the leaderboard as Bonzolo playing Rakan. We actually really haven't seen Lucians again since that first lobby where like 3 people played it. And we're continuing that trend into this 4th one. We're going to Nico's the Aphelios. I do like that.
Yeah.
Especially with, I wouldn't like it if we had 50 gold, right? But I do like it because we have 20, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's still a very it's a weird position, right? Because usually in order to win lobbies, which again players probably need to win this lobby, even if they just top 4, they're not guaranteed to even end the day top 3 over the course of the event. Generally got to play greedy with the Nico's helps. Dog Guy is not really in a position though to whereas they would be likely to hit an Aphelios 3 with that Nico's later on. So it is probably the correct move to use it at this point. It just feels a bit weird, again, when you do want to, quote-unquote, play greedy and go for that first right style. Oh, it's not even going to win this round either, though. Does get stimmy.
The stimmy, is some gold and 2 components.
All right.
So
Zeke's
that is going to help us get to 30 gold too. Like you said, Zeke's, anytime you're running Aphelios and you see a potential Zeke, you got to think about it. And one thing I wanted to ask you, just real quick, is I
Mhm.
built a GA the other day, and I was
Yeah.
like, why don't people build this item? It used to be a required item on like every carry, right? Like, what happened to the item? Why aren't people really using it anymore?
So pacing of the fights, I think, are a lot faster. I'm trying to think about it as we get into it, because that is interesting. I've noticed it, but I haven't really thought that much into it. Pacing of the fights now in set 5.5 as opposed to set 5 are a lot faster. Generally, though, that would lead into wanting GAs, I would say. So, trying
Maybe
to
we
think
just
about
kind
it.
of, sometimes like a whole group, what is it, like the Mandela effect can just forget something exists, right? So
Yeah.
maybe it's just, the vest goes into a lot of good items like Titans, right? It can be a locket for some people, red buff, right? So maybe it's just when you would need it, you're going to use that sword for something else, right?
I think yeah, I think it's also just offset by the items that you do actually slam for your carries, because GA is still okay in like some frontliners like Kennen, like GA is like actually something that people still utilize now. And maybe on like Yasuo these melees, but that's because those are units that don't need a third item slot. It feels like in order right now to deal enough damage with your carries like Aphelios, like Draven, Jax I think could utilize GA, but for those they really need specific 3 item combos, like with Aphelios, Rageblade, a source of healing, be it Hodge or BT, and then like a Deathblade or like IE. Like, and if he's missing one of those items, he just feels like really bad.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think it's more of just there are other items that are a lot more priority. As well as I think there's actually a good point in the chat. These frontliners that have built-in GAs with Revenants, they get their casts off. Like if Fiddle didn't have Revenant, he would definitely like need GA. That'd be a best in slot item on him. But the fact that he has Revenant, it's just not required.
Gotcha. I think that's a really, really good point, right? Because GAs are going to help that front line, right? And when we saw GAs on auto attack based carries back in the past, it was because they literally just absolutely needed a second life, right? There wasn't the ability to run 3 offensive items, for example, and win a lobby back in my day.
Yeah.
And now, right? As where did we just go? Okay.
I
uh,
don't know.
that
Our
was a
components more
journey.
gold.
Yep. 68 gold. But I think to kind of put a pin in it, there are just better options,
Yeah.
right?
Better options, less units that need them.
Mm-hmm.
We've solved the mystery.
Belt stuck on the Rakan here. I wonder what that's going to be.
Could be Banshee's Claw. It could be a Banshee's and then a Gargoyle
He
Slam.
was thinking about it.
Yeah, I do like it a lot. Already having the Banshee's silence as well, the Radiant version, but having 2 things protecting your backline is gonna be good, but is it enough? Because what is this board on the other side, Boop? That is a Gwen 2 Spellweaver, and then a Heimer 2 in the backline as well? Huh? This is stage 4. This
Yeah,
is illegal.
someone's playing Draconic is what that says.
Spicy.
Or 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 it's just kind of how it worked out. Sometimes that happens. But at 4-6 to have 2 tier 2/5 cost units, we probably hit a lot of Nico's helps in some
That
of these
is
eggs.
actually
Or
crazy.
maybe it just kind of happened.
It just happened. There's just,
Sometimes maybe you
back to
just
back
rolled
shops.
into it.
It
Yeah,
could happen. There's a clip
I've
recently of Hunter on level 7 rolling 3 Volibears on a level 7 shop.
I've
So
definitely seen 2 of the same on like a level 7 shop, right? It's
yeah.
not something you can like depend on happening, but it's possible. And if you have that Nico's, right? Say you already had 2 Heimers from eggs or something and you picked up 2 Gwens, 1 Nico's goes to each, and all of a sudden you've got a top 2 comp that you gotta wait a little while
Yeah.
to get there. Is Chrissy Berger doing exactly what she needs to do to make it into next week, potentially get that win this time around? Sherbat definitely competing too. This lobby a
Ooh,
little bit more
Lucian.
separated in the middle, as we do finally have Lucian back on the table. It's been a while, and we're going to roll under 50 gold here at 5-1. We do have a Mistral, though, and that's going to stay on the bench
Ooh.
until the next round.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure if I like this roll down, but I really do actually. Looking at the state of the board, Surebat not only is looking for Lucians for Lucian 3, but is also looking for upgrades of the front line like Galio and Rel and Rakan even. It finds a Rel, finds a Galio. There's okay, I was gonna say there was argument to roll down a little bit more until we hit the Galio at least. All right, Viego goes in as well over the Jax. But not having Ironclad in versus this lobby, not sure about it. No, there's still a few AD compositions. Ironclad does definitely get a lot of value, and 3 Skirm is honestly not that powerful, but Viego is, though. Especially if he gets a steal on the Galio, and he does. That's going to help Sherbat take down Jukyu.
That's a big deal, especially since Crispy lost just then. So the platform that we were on being a little bit more wobbly, I'd be freaking out right now if I was lobby nerve-wise. So I think that might come into play for some of our players. It could be any one of them, right? A lot of them aren't experienced in these situations, and to have all 8 players at 5-2 remaining, Bonzilla and XI might be out of here, but everyone else still staying on strong, right? No one on fire. 20 HP pretty much separates everyone here except for the bottom 2.
No Galio. Not even keeping the pair of Rakans, actually, which, I mean, Rakan 2 could make a difference. A lot of rolling, not a lot to get out of it, though. Unfortunate for Sherbat. There is a couple more components that she will get with the Radiant Blessing, with the Stimmy. Positioning, scouting is good. And a lot of players do like to middle position the Lucian. Not quite going to middle position him here, but at least put him not in the corner and protect him with the Banshee's Claw.
Ooh, we actually target the Jax first, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to take the Jack. Oh, no, we need to keep our ult up, but no Bloodthirster on that Thief's Gloves roll. Unfortunate for Bonzolo. We're going to steal the Karma, too.
Diego, yeah.
So we already took one of our carries, and we didn't even need it. We were going to win anyway. This Abomination, though, doing some work on the Lucian, making things a little interesting, but that is an elimination, as Bonzolo will be first out here on this lobby, though there's going to be a lot of people following them here very soon. Icy 14, Jukyu 13, XI 9, Dog Guy has double 5th place, but is only at 28. So again, anyone's game still.
Over to Jukyu, making a big pivot happen, trying to pivot into Draven. 4 Legionnaires on the board. I like this pivot, but really low HP. Has to Nico the Draven. Is going to face up against so many other strong boards. Like, this board is strong, but other lobbies or other boards are just stronger. The Akshan might be able to take him out right now. Akshan target the Draven. The Draven, yeah, he goes down. This is a big loss, and this is going to be Jukyu going out in this game. The pivot was, like, decent. It just unfortunately wasn't enough. Bad matchup.
These close games hurt, man.
They really do.
It really just becomes I hope I get a good matchup sometimes. Like,
yeah.
It's a rock, paper, scissors situation.
Yeah, we are in the past a little bit, actually. Admiral Shao. Get a replay of their board from the last round. I'll get that back up to date. Oh, we see the Viego, though. The Viego is massive here. Yeah, there's just so many good boards. Like,
yeah,
oh man, this lobby is insane.
Really interesting to me that Gwen seemed to be a little bit of flavor of the week not too long ago, right? We haven't really seen a ton of it. We saw the Revenant Gwen, and it does seem to be one of the best ways to get rid of our hyper tanky units like Galio at the moment. And Spellweaver Gwen is actually something that you might want to think about here. Assassin Fiddlesticks too. Imagine if Jose was still here.
Yeah. Oh boy. Assassin Fiddle, so good. But Assassins really aren't played at all anymore, which kind of sucks. I like Assassins. I know it was like the first Wraith question of like what's one of the most like fun synergies. Assassins were up on that board as well.
Yeah, which was a little surprising, to be honest with you.
Really? Not to me. Interesting.
Because I think when I think of Assassins, I think of like an all or nothing type of situation. It's just one of those things that is fun to play, but not fun to play against.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
yeah. It's probably one of the hardest archetypes ever to balance. Like, stealth might be the only thing that I would say might be harder to balance in gaming. But yeah, that Spellweaver Gwen did not live very long. We have a lot of green on here, even after some ultimates. So it's going to be Admiral Zhao getting the win there against Icy, though. That was enough to stay alive. Really looks like a battle for second at this point.
Healing?
Got the Revenant. Good thing that this is one of the weakest units in the game in terms of auto attacks. We are going to end up getting there. No eliminations, but we do have 3 people in single digits in second place at 17 HP. It's going to take a lot to take Admiral Zhao out of this game, especially with a Viego 2, a Gwen 2, a Galio, Assassin Garen, and only 1 Garen remaining. So this is a very expensive comp.
I actually love this board because it does not feature a traditional carry, right? The carries are Viego and Gwen, but Gwen is such an amazing unit when you're able to get her online with these, 3 items. You get some blue buff, some AP, and then some healing with the Gunblade. Like, this is peak Gwen performance right here.
Peak Gwen performance right in front of our eyes.
Oof.
Jewel Gauntlet, Hextech Gunblade. And eventually, like you're seeing right there, one auto attack against the Gwen is enough to actually trigger the ultimate. And each snip is another way for that Hextech to get more. And that Gwen was literally at 2 HP and is going to end with more HP
damage
than everyone else. 10k damage. That's a win, even though it looked like it might not have been, as XI going to fall into 5th. Oh, 6th, and Dogeye actually falling into 5th. So Dogeye might have taken himself out of that top 3. We'll figure it out. Their scores are too close to assume at this point. But we've got Icy, Crispy, Sherbat, and Admiral Zhao still remaining. But the only thing for sure that we know is if Crispy wins this lobby, Crispy wins the whole thing. Outside of that, it's really anyone's game.
It's same for Admiral Zhao as well. They're only 1 point behind, so if they win, they will also win the whole thing. Sherbat in there as well. Sherbat has 17 points. Icy came into this with only 12. They might be able to, I'm not sure where all the other point standings, of course, are, but might be able to sneak into the top 4, maybe top 3. We'll have to find out. Admiral Zhao rolling down, really wants to find that Garen 2 or Rel 2 or Nautilus 2. There's a lot of pairs, but doesn't roll into any of them.
Yep, you don't realize how little 5% is until you're rolling for a specific unit. And you just need some legendary units. It's funny because, I did say earlier that 2% was a lot, but this 5% is for every single legendary unit, so it's not necessarily 5% for a Garen.
Yeah, exactly.
As this Garen could crit on this ultimate that
True.
is going to go on exactly one person.
I'm just watching it. Oh, it crit.
There it is. It did
291. Big damage. Garen, the massive carry of this fight. Reason why Admiral Zhao is winning.
It's nothing to do with
Look at that. 865 damage on that Garen.
Double elim.
Okay, Sherbat
out 1 HP.
In 4th, Icy in 3rd. That might be big for Icy, actually, that 1 extra point.
Oh, no. Remember when you said 1 unit might decide our top?
Yep, there we go.
That is right there. 1 unit decided the top, like a quarter of a unit decided that top 3. That's losing by a Yordle.
Yeah,
in round 2-2.
It is. It's big,
right? So, unfortunate. Every loss really does count.
Big hill that Crispy Burger has to climb right now too, in order to take down Admiral Zhao. And this comp from Crispy Burger, I mean, it's good, but is it enough? I'm not sure.
I love this Gwen. This Gwen is giving me life. Oh, you start with the ultimate too. Yeah, seriously. Oh, but we actually go into the Vel'Koz ultimate, and it looks like we're actually going to gain health through it after a couple ultimates. Man, Hextech Gunblade has got to be best in slot for this Gwen, and we're not even building any tanky items on, because a lot of people will build tanky items.
She's cracked
on the Gwen. Oh no, Syndra though might have actually won the
okay?
round. Oh no, that was
Gwen.
so close.
The Gwen.
The Syndra was, I think, the right choice, but Admiral Zhao gonna take everything at the end of the day. Who, Crispy probably definitely gonna get into the top 3 as well. But who is 3rd place? Someone who won a lobby today will not make it back next week. I do not remember the last time that happened.
Wow, that's crazy. Actually, that is insane. Let's go ahead and look at the scores. We already got them ready. See who's going to be the winner. It is, of course, Admiral Zhao. Won the lobby. 1 point ahead of Crispy Burger. Second places were not enough. Crispy Burger, the 2nd place queen, with 27 points in 2nd. Sherbat is going to be our 3rd place player. Dog Guy in 4th. Jukyu, then Icy, and Lindario, then Bonzolo down the line. But this was a close week of competition, Boop. We did not know what was going to go down in that final lobby until it was, nearing the end of things.
It was over.
And even then, it was still, intense.
Yeah,
all the way until the final round.
That was our first true carry Gwen, right? And XI won the 2nd lobby, right? And is in 7th. That is... really goes to show, especially with Sherbat having an 8th in there, that, even if you win, and the same is true on the other side, even if you lose, it's still not guaranteed. Definitely. Right? A lot of people might assume that those 10 points will probably get you into the top 3, and that might be the case, right? We were only 3 more than that. 18, 19, 20, 21. Definitely just use my fingers. 5 points away from that. And so,
Yeah.
again, you never know, but it's super cool to see Crispy and Sherbat coming in with that top 3. And Admiral Zhao, 1 point win over Crispy Burger. It ended up being whoever won that last round won the day.
Crazy games, some crazy carries. Haven't seen a Gwen pop off that hard in a while, but I'd love to see it. Gwen is probably, I would say, one of my favorite units in TFT with her potential. Like, she's neat in the utility she provides, but that's not all. She also does a lot of damage. Good stuff, Admiral Zhao.
Yeah. A lot of damage. Admiral Zhao should be here for a interview soon, and I'm so curious what the 4th lobby strategy was going into it, if the Gwen was a part of that. Welcome!
Hello, Admiral Zhao. Congratulations on winning Fight Night. That was a super intense game going into Game 4. Just right off the bat, want to get your thoughts. How are you feeling after that one? How are you feeling going into Game 4?
Well, going into Game 4, the scores were super close, right? They were like, it was like 19-18, 3-17s. Like, honestly, I was just trying to make sure I top 4 and came out, in the top half of that group. I was not, I'm honestly almost amazed to win that game, because I'll be perfectly honest, these guys saw me play the Gwen comp. I have never played that Gwen comp before. That was my first time playing that comp. I can't believe it worked out so well.
How did you get to that board, right? Like, how was your early game like? Because it's not often you see someone land on a Viego and a Gwen carry, but kind of just, break it down, just a little TLDR of your game there.
Yeah, so that game started out as just a pure skirm opener, right? I had like 3 skirm with like maybe like Hellions. Like I did like a 2-star Kennen really early on. And then I had an early blue buff and I slammed on a Yasuo. And so I was thinking to myself, either I played like this AP Yasuo carry, or maybe I pivot into Karma. Gwen was not in my mind, because like I said, I had never played the comp before. But eventually then, with my roll down at level 8, I hit like 2 Gwens, and I thought to myself, wait, this is a comp? This is a thing? Go big or go home. And it worked out. It paid off.
It did. Worked out big. Oh man, Boop, what do you got here for Admiral Zhao?
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to talk about that last lobby. You saw how close the scores were. Were you like paying attention to the scores? And what was like your kind of goal for that last one? You had to win pretty much to win, especially since Crispy was right there with you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my goal coming into this tournament overall was not necessarily to win. I haven't played a competitive setting of TFT in a while. I just wanted to make top 3 to maybe make it on to next week and play again. Yeah. But I honestly lost track of the scores at some point. Like I said, I knew I was second going in, but I just wanted to play my best game, get a top 4, top 3, and make sure I move on. But when it came down to the last 2, I knew it was me and Crispy fighting for first place there, and I'm just absolutely ecstatic that I came out on top.
That's great.
I think like my last question to you is, do you think maybe your low expectations coming in, like maybe just getting top 3 helped you win at the end of the day? Because we hear that all the time. Like, this is starting to get a little creepy. Like, a lot of times y'all will come in and be like, I actually thought I would do this, and I came in and I was just going to do my thing, and I ended up winning. Do you think that is a little bit part of it, or have you just been like really grinding so far? Because that was some good play, especially winning that lobby at the end with 53 HP.
I mean, I think part of it is that when your goal is to just like top 3, it encourages you to play like very consistently, right? It's like you're not gonna go first. You're not aiming to go first or 8th. You're not gonna take risks, right? And when you play consistently, you're probably gonna get like one good game out of like however 4 to 6 games you play in a tournament, right? You're gonna high roll one game. I guess that was the game that I high rolled at the end there. But I'll be honest. Also, this entire tournament, I got some nuts openers. Like, yeah, I think one game I had 20 gold at 2-1. Another game I had like a 2-star Aurelia at 2-1. It was like I said, it's just I came in with a goal of playing consistently, but the game gave me some pretty good boards.
Opportunity meets preparation,
exactly.
Right? You identify the opportunity and be prepared for it. Yeah, Khroen, take us out.
Yeah, I just have one more question for you before we let you go. You talked about this is the first time you played competitive TFT in a while. Are you is your plan to continue to want to compete in TFT, like moving into set 6? Do you want to find your way into some of these bigger tournaments and maybe make it to Worlds, or kind of what are your expectations for you moving forward in a TFT competitive setting?
I guess a little backstory. I took like set 4.5 like really seriously, and I played in some of like the open qualifiers and didn't do too well. And then set 5, I kind of took a break. Like in set 4.5, I made it to challenger at some point. But in set 4.5, I haven't, or like set 5 and set 5.5, I haven't made it to challenger at all. And it's been a little bit of a bum, but like hopefully set 6, set 6 will be my set, hopefully.
Hopefully it will be. Well, once again, congrats on winning. I'm gonna give you the floor for any shout outs before we let you go.
Shout out my parents, I think, first of all, for being super supportive. I'm gonna shout out my boy Phil. He's been, a big part of this TFT journey for me. There have been a lot of nights, especially back during set 4.5, where we were just playing TFT together. Like we were just sitting in a Discord call, just like bouncing ideas off each other while we were playing separate games. Honestly, he was a big part of my growth as a TFT player. And I think without him, I wouldn't have won this tournament. There's no way.
Oh, great stuff. I mean, great shout outs too. Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
But congrats again, Admiral Shao. We'll see you here next week to defend your title.
All right, looking forward to it.
All right, take care. That'll do it, Boop. Fight Night Rising this week comes to a close with some pretty exciting gameplay, I would say. Game number 1 is like, okay, I have a lot of AD comps. It's all the same stuff, but it really, flexed into a lot of different stuff as we got to the end. But I'm going to say Gwen was definitely my favorite part of the night. I mean, what better way to end it off on a Gwen win, and it, allows Admiral Shao to win the whole tournament. But what about you? What are some moments that maybe stick out in your mind?
So I'm actually going to go non-gameplay. A moment that got to me was how excited he was that he won.
Yeah, true.
That was super nice to just see. Like, it's so fun to see people authentically happy and achieving their goals. That's sick.
True.
So, all of you, I hope I get to see, everyone watching do that at some point. But I gotta say that's the highlight for me. So, like, just authentic happiness is just always going to make me happy too.
Yeah.
But yeah, before my internet decides to poo-poo all over itself, as these pixels start building me, taking me down, I just definitely wanted to shout out Admiral Zhao and Crispy Burger and Sherbat for that top 3. So we're gonna have a completely 2 new top 3 representatives next week with Crispy Burger come back for that 3rd week.
Yeah, true. 3rd week. Ooh, and due for a win probably. Crispy Burger's had some good play, hasn't got a win. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to her next week, but we'll see. But we're done for now. This has been Boop and Khroen bringing you Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom. Till next time, take care and have a good night.